Recognize the council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
You can imagine that we're probably going to be playing that quite a bit this episode, guys. Because we are not going to agree about how good these movies are. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fulcrum podcast. I am Gilbert. I'm joined by my buddy Harrison, and today we have a very special guest, the number one contrarian that always loves to be on here to tell us that we're wrong, Joker Voice.
Hello.
All right, guys, and so yeah, if you guys couldn't tell by the background, by the little ticker we got on the bottom, or by the title of this video, we're going to be doing something kind of special today. We're going to be doing our official ranking, our official tier ranking of the MCU phase of the Infinity Saga. So that's going to be phases 1, 2, and 3. Which, just the fact that we are already we're in the, 20 some odd, I think it's 22, 23 movies like that into this, and then we still have 3 whole more phases to go. My God, it makes me kind of re-question, what am I doing with my life?
Saturation much?
Yeah, no, there's quite a bit. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy that, by and large, in general, I enjoy most of these movies, but my God, you just kind of stand back and you're like, oh my God. It's like 10 years of my life just
in the next 22 months, 29 projects slotted.
Ooh. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting thing to see. And again, not like I'm sitting here just oh, too much MCU. I love the MCU. We all know how much of a shill I am for Disney. But
you said it, not me.
Yeah, I mean, there's no shame here. I love Disney. They give me a quality product, more or less.
A product.
They give me a product that I enjoy watching. I'm like, you know what? I'll give it.
Fair enough.
Oh, man, when he says, "Oh, Mr. Action,"
yeah, Mr. Action is not fully excited.
Yeah. The multiverse saga. Well, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be. I'm a slave. I mean, only on Tuesdays and bank holidays. But at any rate, yeah, guys. So we're gonna be checking that out. Here, let me pull up the tier list. Hang on 1 second.
Okay, so just really quick, how are we going to do this? Are we going to do this by order of release or chronological? Because order of release and chronology, with the exception of 2 films, the MCU kind of moves at a linear pace.
Yeah, it does kind of. I'm going to say not necessarily chronology because I don't want to start with Captain Marvel. I want to start this off on an. That's right, Captain America. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. But I'm still though. Even after Captain America, that still means we have to go to Captain Marvel, and I don't want to.
It's too early. It's far too early for Captain Marvel.
So we got good, meh, bad, and worst. Okay, there we go.
Okay. We got 6. We got 6 here. We got best, great, good, meh, bad, and worst. So I wanted to give us kind of a good spectrum there because there's going to be quite a bit of overlap here.
Okay.
All right. So let me see real quick. So yeah, I got them all in order of when they were released. So we
release order. Yeah, that's fine.
So that's how we'll do that. We'll start off with just the best ones, and then we'll kind of move into the rest.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, guys, real quick before we actually get started, though, I just want to take a minute to kind of let everyone kind of get in here. So I would just kind of ask you guys how do you feel about this after 10, 15, or yeah, it's about 15 some odd years since we see 2008. So yeah, but just a little under 15 years. So I wonder how you guys feel about the MCU at this point, or at the very least the Infinity Saga. How has it aged for you? How do you feel about it now?
It's weird. It's real weird. I went back and watched a few things for this. So one of the ones I watched was Thor, and the first Thor is it feels like a much older movie than it is. I thought we stopped making movies like that in 2009 or something, but no, we carried on. It's very dark. It's very all blue, loads of kind of anything sort of sci-fi in the 2000s was. Chris Hemsworth's eyebrows are blonde, which is a bit strange. It took me ages to figure out what was wrong with his face the whole movie. It's an incredible feat of filmmaking. And like looking at it, I was like, it was really pure of heart, or at least it felt like it. Like originally, yeah, this thing of like, we're going to make our own movies. We've seen movies adapt our comics and they didn't do it right. So we're going to take the whole studio system out. We're doing it.
It was definitely a strange thing to see, like that first time. Like, we saw Marvel Entertainment or whatever, but it was really strange the first time you saw Marvel Studios pop up on that screen. It was kind of like groundbreaking in its own way. Now, how about you, Joker Voice? I'm interested to hear how you feel about the Infinity Saga after all this time.
Okay, the Infinity Saga was a experiment, and for episodic film as opposed to episodic TV. And Kevin has his name on. It's his name on the. It's his name as the producer of this. I have to give him all the credit in the world for this set of films. He created the greatest cinematic IP of all time. Absolutely. This was something that had never been done before, and it worked. That being said, where they're at now, I have my major concerns. But for this segment, it was masterful. There were a few missteps along the way, but started off strong, ended stronger. Excellent.
Okay, I can agree to that. That yes, it started off pretty strong, like between the two Iron Man movies with Captain America, the Avengers, despite like the weird kind of like production. Because I would say that like Avengers, as good as it was, it needed it needed a bigger budget on their costumes, because it looked really weird to go from like really cool Captain America and Thor costumes to it's like, oh, this looks like a freaking 12-year-old made it. Looks like a costume that someone made at Comic-Con. So
which don't get me wrong, there were some amazing Comic-Con cosplays.
Oh yeah, but just the same though, it's like when you're looking at a budget of like a multi-million-dollar Hollywood film, it's like it shouldn't look like you made it in your garage.
True.
Like it shouldn't look like the costume from Miss Marvel.
Interesting. I never thought that about the first Avengers movie, but maybe I was too naive back in 2012.
Yeah, that was just
right.
Like I think
10 years ago.
See, going from Captain America, the first Avenger, like that badass like army costume with like the harness that has a star on its back and like all that to this weird like jumpsuit that doesn't even have like anything kind of design. That was kind of weird for me, but at any rate. Oh, so yeah, it looks like you have someone who agrees with you. So yeah, Mr. Action is right on your side with that, Joker Voice.
Yeah, smart man.
Well, let's not be hasty now. He never that's half the time he doesn't watch the MCU film. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get
right. To be fair, how many of these you actually seen, Mr. Action? Like, or is this ranking going to be completely invalid from you?
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it, though. So,
or is everything just going to be mid? Do we need to put mid on the board for Mr. Action?
Exactly. Yeah. I just need to. Yeah, there we go. I just need to put a
mid. It is mid.
Here, hang on. Mid. There. Now we have a mid.
Which is a true mid. I mean, there it is. There is.
Because half of them is mid. I like that there's half of them that are mid.
Oh, shit. Yeah, right. But at any rate, so yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. So we'll start off with the first one, arguably, like, probably one of my favorites. Like, obviously, my Captain America is going to be my favorite. But yeah, like Iron Man is a close second, and it's the one that started it all. You can't not love this movie, and if you do, well, then you and me have nothing to talk about here.
Great.
You got to pay your respects, haven't you?
Great.
To the OG.
It's great.
Yeah, like, see, I would agree. Like, to a start, like, it's absolutely, it's by no means the best, but it's absolutely great. It is an incredible movie. Like, the music that they chose, the fact that they chose, like, probably the greatest actor in all of the MCU to be their kickoff character,
and his comeback, his Hollywood comeback as well.
Yeah,
with a
Robert Downey
vengeance,
Jr.
man.
He's a long way from the old days of what was that teen movie he was in? Was he in Weird Science?
No, he was not in that. He was in Better Off. He was in Better Off Dead.
Better Off Dead.
So yeah, the earliest movie that I think I remember
Less.
seeing.
Oh no, not that. Less than zero.
Yes, I know he was in Less Than Zero. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Wasn't he? I thought he was in a funnier movie, like less down than Less Than Zero.
Well, I mean, Less Than Zero was more his actual life, really.
I also really love his turn in Natural Born Killers.
Mm.
Fantastic Robert Downey Jr. role.
Right.
See, damn, I need to start watching more Robert Downey Jr. movies because the earliest movie I think I've seen from Robert Downey Jr. is U.S. Marshals, and which is a fine movie, but not a bad movie. But still, though, it's just like, damn, I need to like broaden my horizon on RDJ.
We have fullest figures. Oh, yay!
Yeah.
Connor, how are you?
So yeah, dude. So yeah, Connor in the comments, let us know what you think. Like, because we have pretty much a consensus here already on Iron Man 1 being great. So let us know what you think. How does it rate for you? Which it better not be below good. Like I seriously, I don't know how a person can, between Jeff Bridges, like Robert Downey Jr. I'm gonna say AC/DC, Terrence goddamn Howard, which I'm still like I'm bitter. If there's one thing I have a problem with about the MCU, it's that they chose to get Terrence Howard out of there.
You know why that happened, right? You know why that happened?
Apparently, they refused to pay him more money, or I guess he took a significant pay cut for Iron Man 2. Then
because in Iron Man 1, he got paid more than Robert did.
Yeah, because like, at that point, Robert Downey Jr. was an unknown, and they're like, oh, well, not an unknown, but it was an unknown factor. It's like, is he going to be good for this? Is he going to be all right? Like, is he even going to be able to do it? And then at that point, I guess Terrence Howard is the one who brought him in. He's like, oh yeah, guys, like this is my friend. He's good.
And John too.
Yeah, and I guess he got kind of offended on the next movie when they said, all right, man, so we're gonna still want you, but we're gonna pay you half of what we pay Robert Downey Jr. or something such like that.
And then Rhodey got smaller and darker.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't like that, guys. It would have been better with Terrence Howard, in my opinion. Like, Don Cheadle, there's nothing wrong with him. But I think Terrence Howard would have been a much better role for Rhodey, especially like in the later movies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I am really happy with this. So we already have Mr. Action saying Iron Man 1 is good for me. So we've already got someone going against you, and it's like our closest fan.
Well, to be fair, he didn't. It wasn't a mid, not for him. So
yeah, it wasn't a mid. Yes, so that is something. And Fullest Figures is saying that it's good, but it's not a proper Disney film. Oh,
you're right.
Did it become better
it's
for
a Marvel
Connor,
film
when it became Disney?
Yeah, I was gonna say
because this was a Paramount film.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's before, like, it's had Marvel Entertainment on it, but it was before Marvel Studios actually existed, and it was like that weird time where the first like 3 or 4 like Marvel films were done by different studios,
right?
And as a result, had different kind of feels to them, and didn't like they all connected, but they didn't really feel like they were not the way that current Marvel films do, where they're like an Easter egg every 5 minutes.
It wasn't the MCU. It wasn't the MCU until 2012 with the Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I mean, we all knew it was like the seeds of it. Like, despite it was the fact it was a tease for the nerds. Like when that first end credit scene when Samuel L. Jackson is there, like, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. Like we all understood that that's where it would start. Like it was just an Easter egg for the nerds. It was just a thing that they never thought was going to come off the ground. But still, though, we all knew. We knew it was up.
And okay, I remember how I felt hearing that line. I was like, "Oh no! Oh my gosh!" And I'm assuming, Gilbert, you were the same way.
See, now the thing is that at that point I was like 12, 13 years old. So, and I was only vaguely familiar with the Ultimates comics. But yes, like it took it actually. You know what's funny is it took a few months for me to. I'm like, why is Nick Fury black? Because up to that point, I only ever seen Nick Fury be white.
Right.
But like when I found out, I was like, oh, okay. So I found out about the Ultimate comics. Like, oh shit, this Nick Fury was based on Samuel L. Jackson. And I thought that was the coolest freaking thing. And then yes, cool to see that Nick Fury was starting the Avengers and shit. Because I had known about the Avengers, like I knew full well about that. But yes, like the short answer is yes. The only thing is the true gravity of like how awesome that was did not truly dawn on me until a little bit later.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I think we can all agree though, like Iron Man, great. That's what is sus? What, the fact that I was a child when I watched these movies? But at any rate, yeah, so I think we can all agree, Iron Man, great. Let's move on. Like, not really much in the way of like, unless we want to keep on gushing about how awesome it was. But
no, we've got to get through the next one, and it's a real sudden drop off.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna put it's already green. Look at that.
Yeah,
I might even, because I'm the one who's controlling this. I think I'm just gonna put it in bad because I don't.
I suppose
I'd go meh just because this was Universal, and it went through production hell. As I mean, the story, a basic story. I like Ed Norton as an actor. I really like Ed Norton. I like him a lot more than Ruffalo.
That's another problem I had. Yeah, they should have kept him. But again, another one of those things is, I guess the idea with this is that money, but also it's my understanding that Edward Norton wrote and directed a couple of scenes for this movie that he thought made the movie make more sense and actually kind of made it flow a little better. And the director's like, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll let you do those scenes." And on the cutting floor, it got taken off. So he's just like, fuck. Like, officially, like everyone was saying, the official statement was that, "Oh, I don't want to be the Hulk anymore. I don't want to be, bogged down with just." It's like, that was bullshit. He was he's pissed off that the director of Hulk, took his scenes out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sad that Edward Norton was lost, because whilst I do love Edward Norton, I love him in certain things, and I don't feel like he would have fit in anything that came afterwards in the MCU.
Oh,
I think Ruffalo manages to get the tone of the rest of those movies a lot better in his version of Branagh.
In hindsight, yes, but I think we can all agree that even Ruffalo is better than that Ang Lee film with
Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which I think is why this movie, this Incredible Hulk, was such a big disappointment, because it was like, we've got a chance. We can make up for that one. And then they made a movie that was like every other bad 2000 superhero movie. Like, like Elektra and all the other things of that caliber.
Elektra, Daredevil. However was the Roger Corman Fantastic Four that was just made to retain the rights.
Oh yeah,
that is so bad. It's awesome.
I see. I liked it. Again, I was in that weird time of like, I was like 11, 12 years old, like when that movie came out, like just becoming a teenager. So I was at that edgelord time of like, I want to be Chris Evans in that movie. But
you say that, but you saw Alba, and the thirst was real.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's okay.
I liked it for reasons that were not because it was a good movie.
No one did. That's fine.
Yeah, and then we got the second one, which completely botched Galactus, and
well, it's,
sorry,
Connor, you need to get on board with this. We're doing Saturdays now.
I'm sorry.
If we do Sundays, it's just going to be me, and let's be honest, that would suck.
I'm sorry, Connor. I've got D&D. Dungeons and Dragons need me.
Nerd.
So, and now the thing that it did is right at the end where General Ross is drinking his sorrows away with and do you know what kind of drink he was? Do you know what drink he was drinking?
A Thunderbolt.
The Midori sours, because they're green.
Okay. I was gonna say, is that some kind of like deep cut reference I'm not getting?
No,
I would have loved it if he was like, if he gets the glasses, like, get that green shit away from me.
Yeah, but see, that's another sad thing too. Is that
and Tim
I
Roth,
forget his-
and well, I mean,
Tim Roth was Tim Roth was good.
and we're getting Tim Roth back in the MCU.
Yeah, in She-Hulk. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, at least they're trying to be like, yeah, guys, don't forget about this movie. It was a thing too. Like they're trying. Not that I want them to. Not that I want to remember this movie was a thing, because like I said, it wasn't necessarily bad, but it's just like a lot of choices that could have been made better. Like for example, the retention of Edward Norton, the fact that just I don't know. Like I feel like the really only thing they were doing is setting up that guys, Iron Man, because there's that whole opening sequence where they show like blueprints for the Stark Tech and
Shield, and then Shield Tech as well.
Exactly. I'm just like I get it. You're trying to be like, oh, Easter eggs, MCU. Like I get it. But
building the world.
It's just like I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like not a lot of people, if any, know how to make a Hulk movie that's actually interesting. Like Taika Waititi made a pretty good one, but even then, that was a Thor movie, not a Hulk movie.
Yeah, I was thinking. I think it's difficult to do Hulk, and like especially like that movie had that thing where they were kind of they weren't doing an origin story because everyone knew it, but they were sort of doing like an origin one. So like they really retread stories we know. It was all about oh, my girlfriend's the daughter of the man who wants to kill me. Yeah, we know you're Bruce Banner.
And then I mean, even working with the Hulk is pretty sticky still because the Hulk, because the rights to the Hulk are still owned by Universal.
So yeah, at that point you can't even make a Hulk movie at this point unless Universal wants to give up the rights, which
or take the lion's share of it.
Yeah, take a big old chunk. Like
Sony does with Spider-Man films.
Fair enough. Yeah, I do see that point, but like at least with Sony, they're willing to be like, all right, guys, you can have it for this movie. You can have it for a short time. Like they're not willing to give up all the rights, but they're willing to give you at least Spider-Man for a movie here and there. Like whereas I don't understand how Universal is holding on to a Hulk. Like, no, guys, this is going to pay off one day.
It's weird because it's like it shows you how much Marvel and Disney actually value the Hulk that they haven't done what they've done with Spider-Man,
or maybe
it's not worth
or maybe the asking price is too high because for the two Spider-Man films that in this saga here, Sony got 90% of the box office.
Damn. Yeah, no, that's like Sony is kind of like just bending them over a barrel on that one.
Pretty much. No Way Home, Marvel was able to negotiate up to 25%.
Well, I mean, let's hope that like either Sony takes a downturn. Like let's hope the PlayStation sales go down so Marvel can buy Spider-Man.
Don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. But let's just pray, shall we?
You can pray.
Anyway.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and move on to Iron Man 2, which
meh.
I'm gonna say meh. What?
Meh.
How are you gonna put that in a meh?
But put that in. I'm happy with putting that good. Like that movie gets dragged on.
Mid or good.
Pop it in good. Like let's be controversial here because like people really rag on that movie a lot, but like I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as other movies. I think it's like a fairly good follow up. It's got a lot of actors that I like in it. Like, I love seeing Mickey Rourke. I love seeing Sam, what's his name?
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell. ScarJo's an excellent point. Yeah, having the Black Widow come in that movie. Like, I think there's a lot to like about it.
Well, it's at least it's better than Iron Man 3.
That's what I was gonna say. How are you gonna put that in meh or mid if you like when we got Iron Man 3 sitting right there?
Because Iron Man 3 would go into the worst.
What? No, Iron Man 3 is not the worst.
Oh yeah.
Whoa. I mean, I understand their way of doing the Mandarin was pretty bad, but I'm like, at least the redeeming scene is that last scene with all the Iron Man armor showing up to fight. Like that was pretty cool. That
I like everything Tony Stark does in that movie. I enjoy Tony Stark so much in that movie. I love him like having to get by without an Iron Man suit. I love like all the shit he does in that guy's garage.
Harrison, let me ask you something. Mm-hmm. Are you a Shane Black fan?
Shane Black.
Yeah, the guy,
Predator
the director.
I don't know. I didn't know who it was. Guessing not.
Okay, because Iron Man 3 was basically, like it was like a kiss, kiss, bang, 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 bang.
I've seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and it's a very different movie.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but
What?
yeah,
I enjoy it, Gilbert. There's a lot that's good about it. It's an interesting movie at the very least.
It is that.
All right, so yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Full as figures. Hang on, Connor. Iron Man 3 has a Scouser. It's the best. Good on you, lads. All right, I'm a Scouser lad.
I don't know what a Scouser is.
I know I live down south and everything, but I was born in Liverpool, man. All my family's from there, mate.
She turned into John Lennon there for a second. So I don't know what a Scouser is.
It's someone from Liverpool.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool. It's because named after a food.
John Constantine is a Scouser.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Indeed, he is.
All right, so I'm guessing the dude who plays the Mandarin is that who you're talking about?
Kingsley.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when he turns up at the end, I can't remember his name now. He's like, Trevor. I'm just Trevor.
Ben Kingsley. Yeah, that's right. Dude, you know what? That's another thing. Like, I know it's not in this one, but I thought that was the coolest thing that Ben Kingsley showed up later on in Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
that was the funniest fucking deep cut ever. And I
loved him in Shang-Chi. I was not a fan of a lot of Shang-Chi, but I was like, he helped get me through that movie.
Ugh.
Let's see. I like that. Yeah, we got Goog Souter saying he was thinking toy.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. True.
We're all thinking. Well, we're not. Maybe not all of us, but like George Lucas was thinking toys. Like Marvel was thinking. Everyone's thinking toys. Come on, man.
It was crazy. There was still like tie-in games coming out at this time.
Mm.
Like I think there was like an Iron Man PS2 tie-in game.
There, in fact, was. Yeah. I don't know if after like I think Captain America was the last one that got a tie-in game, but after that, I think they stopped doing that. Or maybe I might be. I think they might have made another one for the event, but I could be wrong.
There might have been. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, but
not a gamer.
They died out like fairly early on because that was around the time that everyone stopped doing them. Oh, hey Connor, see you later, man.
Yeah, take it easy.
Thanks for joining.
So yeah, we got Goog Sauer saying that Iron Man 3 was a fairly good movie, or Iron Man 2. I think I'm not sure which one he's talking about exactly.
Let's take Iron Man 2. Let's take a vote. It needs all the help it can get.
Yeah, so Iron Man 2. I'm gonna say it was
mid.
I'm gonna put in. All right, so we got a mid to good. Harrison tiebreaker.
I'm saying good.
All right, guys.
I enjoyed that movie.
There it is. Then.
Until we get more people in there, we're gonna go. All right, guys. So Thor. Let's talk about
mid.
I will absolutely agree with you on that one. I'm gonna put that in mid because I was not a big fan of Thor.
Nah, unless someone in the chat helps me out, I would say good, but
it opened strong, just fell flat in Act 2. And
no, I can see what you mean with that. I don't mind the Act 2, but it definitely does open strong. We rewatched it today, and it was just like going through it, and I was like, "This is just so good."
Just that scene when they're on Jotunheim, and he pulls the hammer and just bashes it down, and just that big wave of rock. I'm like, ooh, that is brutal.
I was loving Anthony Hopkins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anthony Hopkins, especially there's a bit where he just shouts at Loki, but he doesn't say anything. He just goes, "Hey!" It's the funniest thing.
I do love that. Like the whole argument with Thor. Like that.
You are a vain, arrogant, cruel boy.
Father. Like,
I mean, come on. Are you really gonna argue now with him?
The man was 70.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Anthony Hopkins! Like that was some good stuff. Like, but see, now my only problem is that and you're gonna find this surprising considering all my comments about Kat Dennings over the years. But I thought that whole thing was kind of like it was a little abrasive at first. Like the jokes that the fact that they were trying to make Eric's like the Dr. Selvig, Jane Foster, and then Kat Darcy. The fact that they were trying to make them like the main stuff of like not most, but like half of the movie was kind of focused on them, and they were like their thing. I'm like, I don't know, man. the movie's called Thor, not three scientists and an alien. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I get what you mean. It's interesting because I just didn't have that issue when I watched it today. But I will admit, doing other things, so maybe it's
Right.
like if I'm not sitting like in a theater watching it, I can ignore the stuff that's boring and bad.
Right.
Yeah, like that's just my problem. Is that it felt like the stuff with like the science, like scientists and them in the lab and stuff, and like, oh yeah, Asgard. Let me read this book about it real quick. Like I snore, move on.
We spent a lot of time today talking about how insane Jane Foster is for going along with anything that Thor
Pretty
says.
much.
Like, because there's a point, like I think she loses all her equipment and just goes, "Screw it! I'm just going to believe this crazy man. I don't care." Like breaks into what is essentially Area 51 at this point.
Crazy. Right.
He's Chris Hemsworth. I mean, of course she's gonna. You're not gonna turn down Chris Hemsworth. Well, I mean, I might, but I don't know about you guys.
When a gorgeous like Norse surfer appears in the desert of New Mexico, you take that opportunity.
And I mean, like, look at the town she's in New Mexico. How many guys do you think that look like that in that town?
How many guys in that state look like that? Come on now.
I mean, well, you don't go to the gym I go to, so you'd have to.
Apparently not.
I go out there and I'm like, oh, man, I need to step up my game. Like, you'd be amazed how you don't know who Marshall is, but you'd be amazed how many guys we have who look exactly like him in here.
All right.
But yeah, I see your point. Is that it's maybe it's just because where I'd happen to go and where I frequent, but still though, it's like Jesus Christ, dude. Like it's Chris Hemsworth. How the hell are you just going to turn that down?
Right.
But at any rate, enough of my like vaguely homo like thirst.
The thirst.
Actually, I have to say, I think Thor: Love and Thunder has made me more interested in the relationship between Jane and Thor. I think it's my last bit as well. The like,
I will agree to that one. Yeah, it got a little more interesting in that one. Well, we all know how you feel about this. Like we all know how you feel about anything post Endgame. But anyway, so let me see here. Let me make sure.
It's garbage.
Nice. I like that. I need to get a microphone that does that. But anyway, so we got he was saying that Thor was great, but he also says that action is good. So I don't know. I'm gonna take that.
It's a mid.
So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. It's mid, but we got two people saying it's good, so that's a tie. Because he said it's great first. I'll split the difference color until then, which begrudgingly, because I do not think it belongs there. I absolutely believe that is too high. Yeah. But whatever. This is
I think you can have a lot of fun with that movie.
Fine. The opening, I'll grant you guys what you said. The opening is strong, but other than that, it kind of falls flat.
Right.
And like that
like I said.
That ends with a Devastator and her and oh no, Thor's dead. No, he's not. Oh, now he's
yeah.
It's a good look.
Yeah.
Cringe.
Cringe before the MCU was known for being cringe.
Yes.
And that fight as well, like it's really sad that the Destroyer is like the big, boss fight almost towards the end, and it's like just a metal man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we saw such great, grandiose things in Asgard before. Couldn't we get some like crazy, messed up creature to come down and fight?
No.
See, and again, that's what I'm saying is that it doesn't take until like Taika Waititi when we actually get like the grandiose, crazy balls to the walls, like metal album cover that is the Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, first we've got to go through.
Yeah, no, we have a long
Game of Thrones without boobs thing.
Yeah, we have a ways to go still.
Yeah, no, we got quite a bit of ways, but so let's go ahead and do with my favorite. I'm just going to put this right here.
Great.
And
it's
forget
great.
what all of y'all think.
It's great. It's great. It's not the best. It's great. It's not the best.
Oh no, yeah, it's absolutely great. I think it's by far my favorite MCU movie. Like, oh, whatever. I don't give a fuck what you. I don't give a fuck. Like that one scene where little scrawny like Chris Evans jumps on the grenade. I'm just like,
right. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Beautiful.
Okay. The one thing I will give this film, and this is when I believe this is when Sarah Haley Finn started started her casting for Marvel films, because she is the one of the best in Hollywood for casting. The cast of this is amazing. You got Tommy Lee Jones, you got Hugo DeWeaving, Haley Atwell. I mean, to be able to pull Natalie Dormer from Game of Thrones to play a bit part in this thing.
Dude, straight, yeah, like that's right. I know, Harrison, you don't watch Game of Thrones, but yeah, who was her character again?
She was Marjorie Tyrell.
Marjorie Tyrell. Yeah, that's right. So not to like slut shame or anything, but she's the whore.
She's not a whore. No, she wasn't.
Watch that shit. Well, fine. Maybe not in like that. No money changed hands, but watch that show again.
Oh, she knew what she had, and she knew how to use it to
that character is exactly the same.
Ascend to power, right? To ascend to power. Yes, I mean, and then we get Sebastian Stan, and then you also got Jenna Coleman, fresh off of Doctor Who, to play the one of the girls who had like 2 lines at the in the very opening.
Oh yeah, okay. Like one of the like Shield agents you're talking about, like who?
No, she was with Chris, and she was with Steve, and she was with Steve and Bucky, and they were looking at the Stark car.
Oh
yeah, like right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Not even to mention the guy who plays Howard Stark.
Right.
Let me see. Let me look at that character.
He was in Dracula Untold. He was the main bad guy in that.
Let's see, Howard Stark actor, Dominic Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Dominic Cooper. That was an incredible one because he looks a lot like Robert Downey Jr. as well. Like he looks like it was very believable that he could be a younger version of Stark's father.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but yeah, like the entire thing, like Stanley Tucci in there.
Oh, great casting.
Despite what you feel about his German accent, because I hear a lot of people say that like Americans or whatever can't do, foreign accents. Which whatever, I'm an American. I didn't notice it, but he is an incredible actor. That role as it was Dr. Erskine, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Erskine.
Right. Yeah, that was just great. Like you have an absolute point. The casting was like flawless.
Top notch.
And then of course, with Sebastian Stan in there, it set the way for your favorite Captain America film. So I'm gonna put it. Let's see. We got, you got Captain America was good. We got Harrison. What are your thoughts on Captain America?
Captain America is good. Like it's not one of my favorites, but it's like a movie that I kind of can't. I can't go like, oh, I hate it because of this, or like I don't like this. It's more like one that doesn't hit the right bits for me. It's just not something that makes me go, oh yeah, this is my kind of movie. But it's good, so I'm happy for it to be there. I mean, to be honest, Gills, if you think it deserves being great, you put it in great. You can have that.
I said great.
Yeah,
I said great too.
So yeah, fine. I'll put it. Yeah, I will put it in great then.
Oh, and then another casting choice that we overlooked: Toby Jones.
Toby Jones.
The Doctor.
Oh, holy shit! That's right. I completely forgot about it too.
Yeah, the one who comes back as a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Zoloff.
Yeah, Zoloff. There's just so much that is just. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is just And again, I would put it in the best, but that's just because like I think it's partially nostalgia. It's partially I have a thing for like the whole military culture as well. So, but yes, it is a damn good movie. So much is great about it, and of course, like and for me, like now this is probably one of the greatest things that I'll always remember is the end credit scene being the trailer for the Avengers.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was so cool.
Mm-hmm. No argument.
So yeah, let's go ahead and go into the Avengers.
The best one. It is in that category of best.
So for now,
Yeah.
I'll put until we get some other
best.
So
because again, this is where the MCU started, and this was the first major experiment of a major crossover of not one, not two, but like 4 franchises.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I think like when it happened at the time, I remember it was like, wow, yeah, I haven't seen something like this, and I still enjoy it. Like I enjoy it more than other Avengers movies sometimes, because I like going through the sort of the story that I know and enjoying it. Most beats of it work really well for me. I am a Hulk fan, so the fact that like there's like more Hulk in this than most other stuff is good for me.
I mean,
I don't like the Hulk.
Yeah, see, I like the Hulk in that he's part of the Avengers, like he's there, and I respect that, like because he's been grandfathered in at this point, he needs to be part of the Avengers. But like I don't know, I don't really think, like I said, I've said it before, Hulk is not interesting, and it takes a very specific director to make him interesting. Like,
so I'd like to do. I would like to at some point have the Hulk like go into the quantum realm. I would love to see the Hulk just like fucking up stuff, like like being shrunk down and then messing up atoms.
Right, and then the other thing that we saw was not in the end credit, but the mid credit edit scene. We saw the reveal of the big bad, who this entire thing is the working toward.
Yeah, see, like even I knew that. Like when I was like my young teenage brain, even I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, is that Thanos? And like, sure enough. And I'm like, the only problem is it took them forever enough freaking in like 10 years to get to Thanos.
Well, and that's good storytelling. It builds up to it, builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. So when you finally do see him fully realized, he is terrifying.
And then the CG catch up as well.
Yeah.
like it's a good old times to click up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took some time. I mean, had they just made Thanos the next day, we probably wouldn't have had Josh Brolin be in.
Right.
So fair enough. I will grant you that. I'm just saying though, it's like that anticipation was it was definitely worth the wait. But like, god damn it, if you guys didn't make me like, if you didn't test my patience on that one.
Right.
I have to admit, like I kind of got into the MCU. I was a bit of a cheater. I kind of got in like around the time Avengers came out. And did that thing of like, fine, I'll watch all of them. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe they did this. But I remember like when the first Iron Man came out, although it's an amazing movie at the time, I was like 17. So I was like, I am beyond comic books now. I do not need these things. I do not care, even if you have AC/DC.
I am too cool for this.
Exactly.
I can see that. I can definitely see Harrison going through his like, I don't need to watch your MCU movies. I'm above that. But nah, all right. I will grant you, like, so we got Joker Voice saying it's the best. Mr. Action says it's the best. I would say it was just good, but fair enough. Like, I'll let you guys have it. Harrison, where are you putting it?
I think it deserves to go at the best. I think like it was a big enough deal. It's like Dark Knight. You know what I mean? Enough people have said it's the best that like even if you can agreeably say, I don't really like it, it has to stay there.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't matter what you say now.
And another reason why this goes in the best, this launched every single studio trying to do the exact same thing, right? trying to do a shared universe. This put the movie industry on. This was swinging a big dick and like, look, kids.
That might actually be a reason to put it down, to be honest. I'm just like, what have you done to us? What have you done to the industry, Marvel?
Well, yeah, but I'll grant you that
nowadays, yes, maybe.
Because of the success of these 6 movies right here that we've already talked about, I will grant you that it took them, like they created Man of Steel, and then retroactively were like, all right, what if we created an MC or our own MCU around this? And as a result, like, and DC's been trying to catch up ever since. But like, yeah, you're absolutely right. But like the groundwork that this laid has set the tone for like comic book movies for years to come.
And it bled into everything else. Like they were trying to do that dark universe thing over at Universal with the Mummy, and they were going to have
the monsters
to hide.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, like it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, the less said about that, the better. But yeah, so all right, fine. I think we've reached a consensus on that. I'll leave it at the best. I guess. But yeah, so next one we got Iron Man 3.
Bad.
So yeah, I'm gonna put it down in meh because I think it's like just above bad, like I said, because of that last scene with all the Iron Man armor showing up, and like my girlfriend at the time could attest to this, that like she had never watched MCU movies. I'm sitting there like I drug her to it, and we're sitting there watching. I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like, oh, this is lame. That's lame. Oh, that's stupid. And at the very end, she's my eyes light up, like, holy shit, it's the Hulkbuster! and instantly she's just like, I thought you hated this movie. I'm like, yeah, no, it was awesome. Like that last part was great.
You are way too kind.
No, dude, I was happy with all them armors showing up. And then also like him making all those jury rigged like explosives and weapons and like all of his weapons with like Home Depot crap. I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Like, and I'm a big fan of like trying to see a hero get out of a tight spot without their stuff. Like kind of really testing, like, are you actually like special? It's a thing like Thor doesn't do it necessarily that well, but it's the are you worthy? Like
right.
Can you be Tony Stark and a hero without Iron Man?
Well, yeah, I mean, because take away his suit and what is he? I mean, he's
playboy philanthropist.
Right.
Yeah.
Well played, sir. Well played, sir. Well played. I set you up nicely for that.
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to give me a shot. But yes, you have a point. It's like without the armor, what it really is, he's just a guy.
Right.
But
I mean,
allowed him to prove that he can.
Not Batman. I mean, he's nowhere near Batman because.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it was good to see him. Like, okay, I've got to rely on wits.
Mm-hmm. And like you got to rely on his brain, which is really that's what Tony Stark's power is his genius level intellect. Like, never mind all the other cool stuff he has. It's the fact that he's just smart.
Right. And it helps things like sometimes you get stuff like, I think the Captain America movies kind of do this sometimes, of where your superhero is just dealing with guys who seem to be basically just kind of thugs. Mm-hmm. And like in this movie, he does a lot of that, but at least like it's just Tony Stark. Like easy to hurt, vulnerable Tony Stark having to deal with just like gangsters, basically.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, although that like, so yeah, if now that was me nerding out about it. Now I'm like, if he like the Mandarin, like that was like his big baddie, and it was just botched like crazy.
Yes.
And then also the Extremis, they like the whole Extremis thing that they did.
Yeah.
Like that was not what Extremis was.
No.
Like, yeah, no, like that's like apparently. And now I'm not as big on that comic. I'm not as like up on it as I should be, but. It's my understanding that Extremis was like in the comic books was a thing that Iron Man did that allowed his armor to go inside of him essentially, and then like he could control it with his mind, like he could
maybe without the nanosuit.
Like, yeah, exactly, much like the nanosuit, except it was like part of his body almost, and he could like control it, like kind of like a Spartan, where it's like he has to think about it and it does it.
Right.
And so yeah, like it's like there's a whole comic book panel where he's wearing the armor and he makes like a phone call to one of his friends or to like a person who's in the room. And he's not even moving his mouth. Like, this is the armor that's making the call. And he's able to do that just by thinking about it.
Wow.
And so, like, yeah, like the armor is like almost essentially like, a
symbiote.
Yeah, symbiote. That's exactly. So, yeah, it's like.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose maybe that's it. Maybe it's that thing of like, because I'm not a fan, that's why I enjoy it more, because I wasn't as worried about the Mandarin. Because like my only thing with Iron Man then was that like 90s cartoon that they had of it with the I am Iron Man, and him like with an actual forge for some reason.
Yeah, no, that was a weird cartoon. But yeah, like originally, the Mandarin, like that was an entirely different guy. Like,
oh yeah,
and I wish that they had done that. Like, I understand that at that point in the time in the MCU, they weren't thinking that magic, like they didn't really have a thought for Doctor Strange yet, and they didn't really have an idea about like where does magic fit into the MCU.
Right.
So with that, they weren't really thinking about that. But my God, the idea of the dichotomy of Iron Man and his science versus the Mandarin and his magic, I'm like, that would have been so cool.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. I'm not Kevin Feige, so what do I know? But yeah, so I think Harrison, where would you put this movie then? Because he says bad, I say meh. Where would you put it?
I'm happy for it to be a meh, To be honest, like I'm just gonna like completely open up to like I can see the flaws in it. I enjoy it more than other people do, but I'm not gonna try and say it's better than it is.
All right, I can respect that. At least
Fair enough.
yeah, you're like honest about it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's that thing of like we all know there are things we can enjoy that are terrible.
Oh yeah, Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3. No, I'm kidding. No, but in all seriousness, all right, guys. Thor: The Dark World. I think I'm gonna put this one.
Bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in bad. I don't.
I mean,
Harrison,
I'm saying worst. Like I hate this movie. And I really like Thor, but I hate
Okay.
that movie.
Okay, it was normally in the worst. Endgame gave a little respect. I'm like, okay, I've got to watch Dark World again just to recap with Thor with his mom, and because
Yeah, you're right. That is a very important part of that movie for the whole saga,
Mhm.
isn't it?
yeah,
And it was because we were watching Thor, and we did say like because my girlfriend was like, and she's dead, isn't she? And I was like, yeah, I can't remember why. I know she dies in Dark World, and I think it's Loki's fault, but
well,
that's all I got.
Right. It's
yeah. Because during the prison break, like there's a prison break in Asgard. He tells the guy you should go that way, and the way he happens to go runs into his mom, and
Yep.
then she gets killed. So yeah, it is like not directly, but still, yes, it is Loki's fault.
and just Endgame, she has more lines than she's had in these Thor and this film combined.
Oh wow!
And I mean, that's true. And I argue just because like her character wasn't as important. Like yes, she is important to Thor, but we don't really get that until she dies, and then he's like kind of affected by it.
But
and
again,
later on,
but again, still, kudos to the casting to land someone like Renee Russo to fill that role and basically not have a line for basically 2 films.
Agreed. Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I don't know if that's just a wasted opportunity or a good like just okay, cool. You got a good actress who doesn't have a whole lot to do, but I'm like still
a consummate
I'm like
pro though, but still a consummate pro.
Oh yeah.
True.
How good do you think craft services is on a Marvel movie?
Amazing.
I feel like it must be good. Yeah, right. It must be pretty sweet.
Okay, because I have some experience in this. I was a extra on an episode of the Power Rangers. I was just a kid walking through the hall.
Really?
Yeah,
cool.
And craft services there. Oh, it's not a cheese plate or something. It's like full on meals, and it's like it's a whole spread. And I'm like, this is great. So I can just imagine what a big budget film is.
Because I might do that. I mean, if like someone was like, "Hey, do you want to turn up just to hang out?" You know, even if like I am a big old pro, you know, with a good name, be like, "Yeah, sure, go on then."
Right?
Like,
I
got 2 weeks to spare.
But just imagine. I mean, not counting these films. Just imagine the craft services that had to be done for the Lord of the Rings film. You got a gig for 3 years. That's a good gig.
Yeah, and it's like 3 continuous years.
Yeah.
Like after they filmed one movie, they started filming the next one. It's like, damn, dude, what a sweet gig.
It's a good gig.
And like straight up, I would be just to be part of an MCU film. Like you don't even have to be an actor, but just to be like on the crew of an MCU film. Oh my god, I can't even imagine how awesome that must be. But all right, guys, so. All right, I think we've come to the part where it is going to be your time to shine, Joker Voice.
The best,
Captain America,
the best MCU film.
I mean, it's definitely great. I don't know about it's the best.
It is the best because this is a pivotal point of the entire MCU because up until this point, Shield is driving everything.
Fair.
After this, there is no more Shield. There's no No more Shield.
Mr. Action
And-
agrees. Best in memory.
And this is very much like a espionage thriller, kind of like the French, kind of like the French French connection. You've got the world, like basically like 1984, where you were in a complete surveillance world, and you've got Cap, who is now torn because he has always been a because he has always been a government guy, because he believed that what they were doing now was right. Now he has to choose: do I go with what I know because it's what I've always done, or do I do what's right? And this is a huge turning point in the character arc of Steve. Scarlett is amazing in this film, absolutely amazing. The dynamic that the dynamic that she and Chris have is great in this entire thing. The introduction of Sam was brilliant, and the choreography of the fight scenes between Sebastian and Chris, amazing.
I've seen behind the scenes stuff of that. Like, that's all one take.
Yes, it is the one take, and there's no powers or anything. It is just two guys going right.
Yeah,
and it is done so well.
Yeah, no, that I wish I could, like I said, I wish I could be on a production, but at that point, I wish I could be one of the stunt guys or one of the actors, because I would love to learn how to do that, like what they're doing with that knife, like flipping it around, trying to stab.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, dude, I want that kind of skill.
Right.
Like, but yeah, so I will grant you that. Looking at it through the like just the choreography of the fights, yeah, it's a damn good movie, and I can see your point of like, because this directly leads up to his complete like 180 in Civil War, because like previously, like you get Captain America 1, he's all gung ho government, like, oh, we have to trust Shield, like this is the same thing in 2 until the reveal that like Shield is actually Hydra. And so yeah, which leads to him to be like, you know what? Actually, we're the one. Like, we as the superheroes are the ones who are more fit. Like, never mind government oversight and shit like that. Like he starts to, like, it's kind of what leads him to distrust his own like government at that point, which is kind of interesting. I do absolutely admit that. And then same thing for Iron Man. I've made that comment before with Iron Man, how before it's all like, oh, I'm the guy who should be the one. And then like later on, he starts seeing that, oh, well, my Iron Man armors are being taken by all these different people. Maybe there should be some oversight. Which leads to, like, it's kind of interesting to watch like Captain America 1, 2, and 3, and then Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, and watch them completely like swap places. But so yeah, fine, I'll grant you that. Mr. Action says the same thing. He says it's best in memory. I don't know what that means. That he's just like he remembers it best, or he also says he will clap for that. I'm assuming it's going to be what you said.
And plus, this is also Robert Redford's last acting role.
Oh yeah,
as Alexander Pierce.
God, that's a good point too. And then so yeah, and they also got Robert Redford, dude. That like insanely like talented actors they got on this.
Sarah Haley Finn, best casting director in Hollywood, by far.
Well, I can't really disagree, but
haven't done any comparisons.
Yeah, like I'll have to look up more, but I at this point I will say yes. Harrison, what are your thoughts on Captain America Winter Soldier?
It's good. I don't want to like knock it, but I don't understand why it's so many people's favorite. Like, clearly there's something there, because a lot of people I know really love this movie. Doesn't do it for me. It's sort of, I'm just like, that's fine. It might be because like I'm not as into the sort of the spy espionage thing, because you're right, it is very much that. And it reminds me of like watching a Bond movie. And I find Bond movies kind of difficult to watch. I don't really know what's happening. I'm like, why are we here now? What happened? Who's she? What's going on?
All right. No, I gotta get that. There's a little bit like, it's kind of like a little complicated, I guess, or a little like convoluted to follow.
To be fair, actually, this one's a little better than most like spy sort of movies. I think also I'm not a fan of the Winter Soldier as a character, like Bucky. I'm not a fan of this whole edgelord thing that he comes out with in this movie, and then sticks around for ages. And every time I see him, I'm like, "Oh, go home. Like, no
Well,
one wants you here."
Well, eventually, yes, but in this film, he's great in this film.
I do agree a little bit with both of you. Like I like the Winter Soldier, but yes, the whole like him's like edgelord thing, like the fact that most of the movie he's wearing eyeliner around his eyes. I'm like, what? I
Okay.
don't know what the hell that's about.
Well, that's probably more just like for the like a smudge or something. But I mean, but because he barely says anything, and so he has to act with his eyes mostly. Does very well, and he is intimidating, and his theme, that like scream you get in there, so good.
I'll admit, one of the cooler scenes is when Captain America throws his shield and he catches it. Like,
Yes,
that's probably one of the coolest scenes in that movie. And like Captain America being like, "Oh shit,
what the hell?
I might be screwed."
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty good. I will grant you. I still don't think it's I if I had my way, these two would be swapped, but fine. Like, you know, I haven't done it. I haven't done it the whole episode. I have to do it right here.
I recognize the council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
I had to do it at least once.
All right.
But anyway, let's go ahead and move on. We got Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm going to put. Don't even give a shit. Yeah, I'm putting it in the best. That opening scene of.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Yes.
Yeah, no, like the music of this scene or the music of this movie, to the fact that it's James Gunn and his like insane James Gunniness, like everything about it was great. The fact that Chris Pratt being a total goofball throughout the movie, so anyone who watches Parks and Rec will remember Andy Dwyer, and like that's just what I saw. It's like just Andy Dwyer in space.
Okay, so I have no problem having this in the best category. No problem at all. You took an obscure comic, you took an obscure story run, which didn't sell well for the general public, but those who were fans of this book were just regular. They were rabid fans of the story, and there was just enough humor, but it wasn't over the top. It had just enough and had time to let some scenes breathe enough that it was just a well-paced, well put together film. And this was the first time we saw Thanos in his full as Josh.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess what I said earlier was kind of like premature, that it wasn't just like, all right, Thanos and then wait 10 years. It was more like Thanos and then wait like 3 years and then we'll come back to him later on.
Yeah, we get to see him in bits, but it's like,
right.
Well, we get into Thanos, and not quite. You got to wait a little longer. We've got another Avengers movie to do first.
What I am not impressed with is you, boy.
Yeah, see, that was one weird part. Is that he calls Ronin to him, and then he tells him, "If you come back to me empty-handed again, I'll kill you."
I will bathe the Starways in your blood.
Yeah, I'm like, isn't he only here because you told him to come to you? I'm like, what?
No, you know.
But, whatever. That's one small little, like continuity error, maybe, or just, like, kind of, like, dumb little line. But I will let it go, because Bradley Cooper, awesome. Like, Rocket is by far my favorite. Like, that whole scene in the prison where they're, like, planning their escape.
Rocket is great. Rocket is great. This rodent speaks of things he does not understand. That is true. He has no respect. That is also true.
I'm not ashamed to say I've used that line before. Like, when people tell me, "You're an asshole," that is true. And you don't respect it, that is also true. And
yes.
They don't know what to do. People don't know what to do when you tell them that.
I bartend. I use that all the time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That whole prison section, you get, what's his name? Something Lloyd. Trauma. The trauma, like, god of everything is in that. And so the guy who gave James Gunn his first job.
Oh, yeah. And And you know who else is in that? Nathan Fillion.
That's right. Yeah, the guy who comes up to Star-Lord and tells him,
I'm gonna make you into Nobby and jelly.
Yeah, he very, very like not so subtly. It says he's gonna rape him.
Yeah. And then Groot takes his vines and goes and the Guardians theme. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, I liked what's his name? Benicio del Toro as the Collector.
Oh yeah.
Like those scenes were really cool. He's a little cringy. Like I don't really care for the Collector himself, but you know, the line or the scenes itself were pretty good.
Yeah. It's fine.
I like the Collector because like that's Benicio del Toro doing what he does.
He is
like
eccentric.
Yeah, like you know that's what I want to see him do. I hate it when they get that actor and they get him to do something normal. I'm like, no. If it isn't as wacky as Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, I don't want to watch it.
and then in the Collector's Collection, you get Cosmo, who was in the original Guardians comic books.
Yep. Russian, like a Soviet dog that went into space and I guess got
Laika.
Yep.
Yeah.
You also see a dark elf, you see one of the Chitauri, and you see a pre-Adam Warlock Cocoon.
Well, I was also going to say this is just for us, like other nerds out there, but you also see Tobias Bluth in there.
Yeah, and then
not that it matters.
And then at the end, you see Howard the Duck.
Yeah, that is true as well. Which is I thought that was an interesting thing. They got Seth Green to be Howard the Duck. Like, again, I mean, you know, whatever. He's a nerd just like the rest of us, but I'm just like that's again kind of feels like a weird like wasted opportunity. Like you could have gotten Seth Green for anything else, and you chose him for Howard the fucking Duck. But you know, whatever.
Right.
I just don't really care for Howard the Duck myself. Ever since that horrible George Lucas film, I'm never going to go back to Howard the Duck.
You know what? A duck and a young Leah Thompson. I was jealous of a duck. I was. I'm not gonna lie.
I was wildly concerned for Leah Thompson. I'm like,
hey, you know,
lady. But I've been waiting for the day where we get a Howard the Duck series announced on Disney Plus. I'm just waiting for it.
Oh God, no.
It's only a matter of time.
No.
I don't want it either. But just wait.
No.
We'll probably get it. The thing that'll be the worst thing about it is if it's yet another Rick and Morty clone. That's gonna really upset me.
Ugh.
Yeah. I think I broke Joker Boy. He's on loop.
Ugh.
Wow, the hatred's going out.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, no, please God, no.
Mm-hmm.
No more Disney Plus shit. Well, I got bad news for you, Mr. Action. I think
there's a lot coming.
Yeah, and in fact, yesterday, I Am Groot, I think, dropped, if I'm not mistaken. And then next week, next week, She-Hulk is going to be dropping.
No, the week after.
Oh, 17th. Week after. Okay.
17th.
Oh, okay. So it's not this week, but next. But so the point is that we only have like less than a week until these next run of Disney Plus shows start dropping out. So
great.
Prepare.
Hey, more content for me. Cool.
Another video to tell you just how bad the MCU is.
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, so I guess we're moving on now to. This is gonna be a controversial thought. I personally think that this one is better than Avengers 1.
You're insane.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can go with you on that. I thought there was going to be a real fight with this because I know some people really hate Age of Ultron. I don't mind it, so I'm happy for it to be in good, or if you want it in great, Gilbs. Yeah,
good.
But
good. Fine. We'll put it in good. But like, let me defend it for a minute because of that whole scene. Like that, first of all, the party they have among all the Avengers in Avengers Tower, and then like them hanging out and So first of all, like all the little things of just like Stan Lee getting drunk on Asgardian ale. What's his name? War Machine being like, boom, you're looking for this, and nobody laughs. Like, and then him telling the story again to a bunch of normies. And laughing. Like that was great.
Okay, now But now, as good as that scene is, the scene right after that,
Yeah, the hammer scene. That's why I was getting into it.
that is
Yeah, the hammer
that is
scene.
that is now this is a Joss project
Whedon.
here, and he has his flaws. But the one thing Joss is really good at is small scenes, dialogue. He's very good at that, and that's why that scene is absolutely perfect.
It's almost too good because like that bit where the broken Stark drone comes up and it is talking with Ultron's voice and Ultron's using it is better than anything else Ultron does in this entire movie. He's like he's his most threatening and evil and interesting right then, and then afterwards he's a silver dude.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, right, okay, fine.
because Ultron in the comics is gnarly.
I've heard the actual Age of Ultron is like a messed up comic.
Yes, it is, and not created by Tony Stark. Was created by Hank Pym.
Yeah, but we were still one movie away from Ant-Man, and they weren't gonna try to open that can of worms of like, oh yeah, so we're gonna introduce Ant-Man right here.
Well, just look at the list of films there. The reference Wakanda.
Yeah,
way before the Black Panther.
Damn, that's a good point. They referenced Black Panther 6 movies before he ever came to screen. So that's a good point.
Two films.
Was it? I thought he. Oh no! Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he got his own standalone movie after. That's right. He was in Civil War. That's doy. But still though, but I guess you have a point that they referenced Black Panther a little early on, so they could have, I suppose, put like Pym particles or something like that,
or just Pym Tech.
Fair enough. I was like, oh yeah, I ordered some Pym Tech, or when they were making the AIs, they could have just like put something like that in there, or like, oh, I called a colleague of mine, Hank Pym, or something. Mm-hmm. They could have put like one little line of dialogue, but they just chose not to, and it's because they wanted to go with Scott Lang. Right.
Well, you could, and a colleague of a guy who knew my dad, Hank Pym.
Fair enough. Or like a friend of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that. Like, there's ways to go about doing it, and they just chose not to. And so, but again, the whole hammer scene, the fact that we actually, or maybe I only care about it, but I actually cared about Hawkeye. At the beginning of this movie, I'm like, I don't give a shit. I just kill Hawkeye already. Come on. By the end of the movie, I'm like, you cannot kill Hawkeye. He has to live forever.
They did make him way more interesting. I also really enjoy I ship Hulk and Black Widow. I'm into it. I'm sorry, I am. Like, I don't know why, but like when she's going like the sun's getting real low, and I'm like, yeah, it is. This is super cute. Like, yeah.
Okay, so
you take the big green boy home and make him feel special.
Okay, so see, because that I see as they kind of knew that Bruce had a thing for the widow, and they exploited that, because in the comics, she and Bruce were never a thing. She banged Steve, she banged Tony, she was banging Frank. She banged Frank Castle. I mean, she was making the rounds. Except Bruce Banner.
I mean, to be fair though, in the comics, Bruce Banner is usually hung up on Betty Ross.
Still,
so
right.
So yeah. With that, I was a little pissed off about that too. Is that it's cool that they're making him like, oh yeah, the Avengers, they're on a team, they're gonna get closer. But I'm still, I in my heart of hearts, Bruce Banner would never get over Betty Ross, and that's what bugged me for that.
I think that might be why I like it, because I spent every story like that just going, dude, no, get out of that. Like, don't put up with like a dad like that just for some chick. Nah, man, it ain't worth it. And really, you're gonna have the worst Thanksgiving every year. Get out of it.
And then in this film, we get the reveal that Thelma from Scooby-Doo films is Hawkeye's wife.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him. If, they get, or if you're gonna get one, get the gold medal. Fuck Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Right? Right, exactly. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, like, but good for him. And that was a really cool choice as well. Like, just to be like, oh yeah, out of nowhere, he has a wife and children, and I think that's exactly what made him more interesting. It's like, oh
Well,
shit.
Yeah.
well, yeah, and then it was and then what was it? The line that Tony had, yeah, we would have said hi, except we were too busy not knowing you existed.
Dude, a lot of Tony Stark's lines in this are great. Like later on, he's like, Romanoff, you better not be hiding or playing hide the zucchini with Banner. I'm like, ah. Like, that legitimately made me like laugh out in the theater, and everyone looked at me like,
okay, and this is where they teased it and didn't say it. And they said when Tony said Avengers, time to go to work, and I'm like, oh, there it was.
and they do it at the very end too. It's like when they have the new Avengers, they're
Avenger,
like,
cut.
and then they cut it, and I'm like, ah, damn it, he almost did it. Right, but although again, it's one of those things of like, I feel like it's better that they waited and made us anticipate it, because in Endgame, that is probably one of the greatest lines of that movie when like everyone and their freaking mother shows up, and then he like or Steve Rogers with Mjolnir.
Hold on to it. Hold on to that.
Oh yeah,
We'll
we'll wait. We'll wait. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, but we're all in agreement though. Good.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm good with
It's
that.
good, but yeah, I'm fine with it being in good.
So here, I'll take this one. This is an Ant-Man now. I'm gonna put it very decidedly in mid.
Mid.
Yeah, mid. Mid's empty. Something needs to go in mid, and I feel Ant-Man is probably the perfect example of mid.
Okay, Ant-Man is just a good, fun family film.
Yeah, it feels like something I could take my like niece and nephew to.
Right.
It's a movie that if it comes on like on a national holiday, like it's like 2 PM and y'all need something to put on the TV, like
background noise, you're fine.
Yeah.
It would. I would definitely prefer this than A Christmas Story on a loop again.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
All right, I don't know how that's relevant, but okay.
No, I'm just saying,
like on those days, you know,
yeah, like
background
you watch
noise.
the
same movies,
just a background noise.
All right, fair enough. I see. Like,
I think like
go ahead. No, you go ahead, Harrison.
One of the biggest weaknesses of this, I think, is it's like a bit generic. Like how we get even this far into the MCU, the first villain for your hero is exactly the same as the hero, but a different color. And I'm like, mate, this isn't red versus blue.
This is one of the worst. This is one of the worst, the absolute worst bad guys in the entire MCU. Absolute worst.
The only potentially worst one is the one in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ooh, yeah.
Ghost,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, but like I'd say the only reason that I would agree that Yellow Jacket is probably like one of the worst bad guys, but that's only because he's not supposed to be a bad guy. That's supposed to be like the progression of Ant-Man. Like I guess like that's supposed to be like his alter ego later on down the line when like I guess like the Wasp, like she ends up dying in the comics, and so what does he do? He gets a new suit that flies and he calls himself Yellow Jacket.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
So yeah, I'm like, that's my thing. So I'm like, he's not supposed to like, oh, well, Yellow Jacket is the bad guy. I'm like, no, nah. But that's just me. Like, it's kind of a dumb choice on their part.
But the one good thing, but the one good thing that they did do is they portrayed Hank Pym right. Hank Pym is a dick. No, he is. He is. I mean, there's a scene in the comic where he and Wasp are arguing, and he takes a swing at her, and then she shrinks down. He grabs a can of Wasp spray
and starts spraying her.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow, dude, what a dick.
Yeah.
See, yeah, like that's one thing I think is, yeah, you're right. They do it really well because no matter what thing I've ever seen Hank Pym in, he's always been kind of an asshole,
right?
And kind of like domineering over Janet, which is like, you know, whatever, man. I'm not my place to tell your relationship, but whatever.
And then Hope as well, and then their daughter Hope, which great actress to play Hope.
Let me see who they got.
Yeah,
for-
who's at the place?
Evangeline Lilly.
Yes. Okay. So
No, back.
yeah, she was in Lost. That was like her well, at least the first thing I remember seeing her in.
And she's also in the Hobbit films.
Oh, that's right. She's the elf chick. That's right. She's the wife. She's the wife of Jeremy Renner in The Hurt Locker.
Mm-hmm.
She's in Real Steel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's been in quite a few things, but yeah, like I said, the first thing I remember seeing her in was Lost.
I think nothing you've listed I've seen. I've only seen her in this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you need to get some culture in you, Harrison.
Oh yeah, because I need to watch Lost.
No,
everyone was happy with Lost.
I never saw it, and I'm fine with it.
I never finished it. I watched it, but I never finished it.
It is like the legend of TV that wasn't worth it. And then we gave that man Star Wars and Star Trek.
I know, right? Yeah, brilliant, folks. Good job.
I mean,
anyway.
I didn't mind the Star Trek, but yeah, Star Wars. That was.
Yeah. I mean,
just
proof. Just more proof. You who can shine a turd, still a turd.
Yeah,
Marketing.
I kind of think that Abrams turdified a lot of Star Trek. I think he took something that was shiny and covered it in turd.
Yes, well, that too. but he marketed himself as shiny, and then when the shine comes off, it's like, dude, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I do remember like an interview that came out at the time because there was the whole thing where he essentially destroyed the Star Trek timeline at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he was doing interviews going, "Oh yeah, that's how I write. If you don't know where you're going, just like scrap everything and do it again in the middle of the story." And I'm like, "Oh, that's why everything's boo. I see what you did."
That absolutely explains not the last Jedi, fucking Force Awakens.
Yeah, just like fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm like, I didn't mind Star Trek. I didn't mind the first Star Trek, and even Star Trek Into Darkness it had its moments, but yeah, no, J.J. Abrams, you need to stop giving him stuff.
Yes.
Like, but anyway, so yeah, let's go on to a major turning point in the entire MCU is Civil War, and I'm gonna put that in great so far. That's my opinion
Best.
of it. Like,
Best.
So he said we got a best, we got a great. Harrison, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm not into Civil War. I think putting it at great works. I think I would put it lower because I find it a bit boring. Like I spent hours in that movie and I'm like, because I think again it's like a lot of the stuff that's in all the Captain America movies that doesn't quite gel with me for some reason. I don't enjoy it. And the way they introduced Black Panther.
Oh, that was beautiful. What are you talking about? That was amazing.
Actually, makes this damn movie longer. and I think as well, I love the Civil War book, and I was like, this just doesn't feel anything like Civil War, and it doesn't feel like it has the same weight as Civil War.
Okay, so, just the intro of him at the UN when at first he's just standing there and he's not in his costume, he's just standing and he makes that turn. I'm just like, oh, that guy is just dripping cool. That guy is just cool, just oozing off of him. And then when you first see the suit, it's like, oh, damn. And then when he's fighting without his suit, he's just as cool. But this film has a very distinct part of the character arc, not for Steve Rogers, but for Tony Stark. This is where Tony really feels loss because Tony has always worked his way out of every situation up until now, and he's gotten out of it without really having to accept a lot of the responsibility. At the end of this film, he is alone. He's lost his friends. He's lost his team, and he has Rhodey, and that's it. That's all he has. I mean,
Rhodey almost dies.
Right. So this is a major turning point for Tony Stark. We see for the Tony Stark we see in the next few films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's a good point because then like it kind of like informs why he's so protective over Spider-Man in the later movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's of how much loss he experiences, and then also watching like his friends like not only betray him but then almost die. Like yeah, like it really absolutely informs how much like he cares about Peter Parker later on.
Right.
Which like I can't wait. We're only 2 films away from talking about what is like objectively the greatest MCU film that will ever be made.
No, it won't.
Scroll down. Oh God, no, not even close.
You know what I'm talking about. Yes,
not even close.
Actually, no, you're right. That's No Way Home.
No.
No, dude, Multiverse of Madness just came out. What are you talking about?
Multiverse of Madness. I guess just because it has freaking John Krasinski in there is not enough.
Go fuck yourself.
Not a fan of Jim from The Office, are we? I'm gonna take that as a no. But at any rate, yeah. So let's go ahead and move on.
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to Doctor Strange. Worst.
Look, I know that no one else likes it, so if we can have it at a mid, I will accept a mid.
I'll give it a mid to a good. Like I don't.
Okay.
I think it was all right.
Is a mid. Doctor Strange is a mid.
Like,
Okay, interesting, because I'm more on the good side, like you, Gilbs.
Yeah, see, I would say like mid to good because like I would say mid if anything because it has like I don't know, it's just, like I wouldn't necessarily have chosen Tilda Swinton as the ancient one.
The ancient one.
The ancient one, yeah.
That's just me. Like it's not that she's a bad choice. It's just that I wouldn't have necessarily cast her as that. Like I would have gone a little more like conventional and done like the old Chinese man like kind of thing.
Which you could not do if you wanted to if they because in the comics the ancient one is from Tibet.
Yeah.
To get this film released in China, you can't have that.
Yeah, you can't have a Tibetan man be like the sorcerer supreme because then it's going to piss off all the Chinese. As that's a Dalai Lama reference or some such like that.
Right.
Like, I get their reasoning. It's just that I would not have bent the knee to China.
See, I would have instead of Tilda Swinton as the ancient one, I would not have wasted a talent like Mads, and I would put him as more the ancient one.
Ooh, that's an interesting. That actually is an interesting idea. Make Mads Mikkelsen the ancient one. Like I still want him to be the bad guy because he has a really good villain. But
he was this bad guy in this film terrible. It was so generic, and this was where Marvel started to get this rep of just having bad guys that are just
no, they'd had that way before then though, because like we've been through like 12 movies of like bad guys. Thor had a bad guy, like Ant-Man had a bad guy, like a lot of the movies had bad guys. But like this guy isn't good. Although I like the fact that it ends in an interesting way, with like he doesn't just have a fight with his villain and then win.
Dormammu
actually has to think.
I've come to bargain. Well, that's what. Yeah.
See, what bugs me is that also that Dormammu doesn't look anything like Dormammu.
No.
Like if anyone who knows anything about Dormammu, he should look like kind of like Ghost Rider, almost like demonic, like a burning skull. Mm-hmm. Like this guy looked like something like the quantum realm spat out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't, and so I'm not crazy about the way they did Dormammu, but again, whatever. It's like that was kind of just like it feels like they just kind of put it in there to be like, oh yeah, we know where Doctor Strange came from, but the main bad guy was Mads Mikkelsen, and after that, it's pretty much the movie's over. After he beats Mads, the movie's more or less over.
And like, I don't know whether it was what it was that meant that we got a movie for a sequel for Doctor Strange so late on, but like it really feels like they just didn't want to do Doctor Strange at all. It felt like they regretted this movie.
It's because a movie like this with all the stuff that has to be done in post is very expensive.
Okay. Because yeah, I know that they had a lot of award-winning effects in that, which to be true were pretty amazing. The sort of kaleidoscope stuff they got done
Right.
with the worlds they're running through were amazing.
Right, but that stuff is not cheap. And even though you've got and even though you have ILM as at your disposal, George is still not charging a is not going to charge a discount rate.
Okay. Let me see here. Let me make Okay. Yeah. So that's not like. Are we pretty much on board with this then for Doctor
Yeah,
Strange?
I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on because we are pushing it a little bit. It's getting to about a little past the 1.5 hour mark. So yeah, Harrison, I want to try to get this before 2 hours so we can get out of here.
I'm not doing too bad. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. So yeah.
All right, but yeah, we only have 9 movies left, so hopefully we can kind of get like I think for a couple of them we're pretty much gonna do a lightning round, but for right now I'm gonna shock people and say meh.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with
really?
That. Yes.
Guardians 2. Do you know what? Me too. I was not as impressed by this. I loved that first movie so much. The second movie was kind of a disappointment for me.
This was an example of like I said for the original film where it gave scenes time to breathe. This was just joke to set up the next joke, and it took everything that worked in the first film and just dialed it to 11, and it completely took me out of it.
I agree with that. Like in the first film, one of the things I really love, like you mentioned, Gibbs loving Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon. I love Rocket Raccoon has like an emotional journey on that. I love like at the end when Groot's there and he's like, look, I know we don't have any other friends, but we can't do this, and he gives in because he's made friends finally. And in the second movie, that's just like gone. He hates everyone.
Yeah, he's back to big old Rocket. But I'm like, and so yeah, same thing. I'm like, I feel like that's just true of a lot of movies that the character will learn the lesson, and then by the next movie, it's like, oh yeah, fuck all that.
And then Groot went from being the best damn thing, and then they turned him into a minion, and now he's a keychain, and he's a baby, and I'm sick of it.
Merchandising.
It's the Grogu thing, man. It's like, look at this cute little thing you can own, and like look at how many of them you can own. You can own 1 billion of them. I'm like, I was not about Baby Groot either. That opening scene of like him dancing around, I'm like, I get it, James Gunn. You're trying to reference the last movie you made and trying to like recreate that, but it's like, dude, just no Baby Groot.
Although does have a cameo that I enjoy. It's got I forget his name, but he's Crichton from Farscape, and he's a gold dude, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, hey, it's my boy.
That was a cool one as well. I did enjoy that.
I think just because I haven't seen him since Stargate. I'm like, what you been doing, man?
And then the very, very, very last scene where you get the original Guardians of the
dude.
Alex
yeah. Right. And there's a big old thing too, because apparently Yondu was on that team. Like in the comic books, Yondu was on the original team of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's a cool little reference to have them all like reunite because of Yondu's death.
Yep.
Like, I'll admit, like I wish it was better because they like that scene, like Yondu's funeral, like honestly Yondu's whole sacrifice. That is a really good scene.
Yondu was actually the best part of this film.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Which it kind of bugs me that he shouldn't have been. Like it's not that he's saying he's bad, but he should not have been the best part of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are some things that this movie does, which in some ways I go, oh, that's a good idea. Like how they go, oh, Yondu is actually more of a father to you than Ego ever would have been. Mm-hmm. But one of the problems I had was they spent the last entire movie going on how much Peter hates Yondu.
Right.
And like the thing of like, you keep saying you were a good person because you didn't eat me. That doesn't make you a good person.
Good person, right.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like we all see that, like it's like I said, it's kind of the same thing as like last movie. We have this whole thing we established. Next movie, fuck all that. But at any rate, like it is kind of a nice scene when we see like him shooting with like him teaching Peter how to shoot. Him like like just like kind of just like the flat like the montage of him growing up and learning to be a Ravager.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of like that.
I do also. I love the bit in the fight where the chain comes on from Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Like
the chain, guys.
Well, okay, but at that point, I am so taken out of the film that I'm like, okay, good song, but it's not enough to save. Not enough to save it.
Yeah.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah. Can't save it now.
Like the only thing that's not making this bad or worst is the fact that those Yondu scenes existed. And if it wasn't for all of those, it'd be like, this is probably one of them.
Interesting. I was not expecting for us to be on agreement with that.
Yeah, there's a first time for everything. All right, guys. Well, you can be prepared for me to not be in agreement with you about most stuff, because right now I'm going to put this like very, very decidedly, because I know you guys aren't going to call it the best, but I'll put it very decidedly in the great category.
I'm
good.
I'm with you on great.
Good.
I love it. I love so much about it. I love the Wasp. I love Michael Keaton's Wasp, the Vulture. I love Michael Keaton's Vulture. I love that weird adaptation.
So, some of the best scene is that where is the drive to the prom. So much tension is in there, and it is just
very good
palpable. I mean, you can feel it. You can feel the tension in there, and then the daughter goes into the prom, and Michael Keaton goes from dad to Vulture like that, and just leans over and just leans over, and I'm like, I'm scared.
Yeah,
part of the reason I love it is that he's a criminal. He's not a super villain. He's not taking over the world. He's not trying to wipe out mankind. He's just a criminal, and you're in his fucking way, Spider-Man.
Well, he's he's not a bad guy because he wants to, rob banks. There's no scheme. It's because Tony Stark with the government has basically taken him out of a job.
Yeah, the government screwed him.
Right, and so now he's got to make do, and I also like the scene when the guys come back from a botched job, and Michael's like, "Oh, you're a big guy. I'm the shocker. What?" And I'm just the way the Michael Keaton is the absolute star of this film. Absolute star.
I don't know. I really feel like part of the reason I love this movie is that the new Spider-Man
Tom
really
Holland
worked for me. Tom Holland was just like, I believe this kid is Spider-Man. He feels like a slightly younger one than I've had before. Feels more like a kid, more like he's just starting out. And now, it was wonderful, actually.
I will give Tom this, and this is the good part, and it's really more of a because of Tony Stark when Peter's like, I need the suit. If you need the suit, then you don't deserve it. And so then he has to go to his old homemade suit, and the Vulture's got all this, he drops all this concrete on him, and then he's calling for help. He's calling for help. And then he sees his face, and he's like, come on, Peter. Come on, Peter. Come on, Spider-Man. And I'm like, and then the music's building, and I'm like, okay, yes.
Very good scene. And I love that. And again, it very much echoes what Tony Stark had to learn in Iron Man 3. Is like, if you need your suit to be a superhero, then you're not a superhero.
Right.
And so Spider-Man has to learn that lesson. It's just a very cool thing. It's like that little thing, those little Easter eggs, those little references to previous things, and the way you can see the character development over this last 16 movies. I'm like, I am just very, very
the one.
I was excited to see it. I was happy with it.
The one thing I could not stand in this film, and I mean, I love the guy, but Favreau, I thought it was just. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, that's because he wasn't he's still playing happy, but he's not directing his own character.
Right.
The only reason the reason you liked him so much in the Iron Man films is because he was the one directing himself.
Basically, it worked.
Yeah, but now it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna do my version of happy. It's like,
right.
Oh, God.
But bringing in the hot Aunt May, I'm fine with that too.
Oh, dude, Marissa Tomei as Aunt May, that was the best choice I've ever seen in my life.
So we go from Toby to Andrew to Tom, and Aunt May gets younger and hotter each time.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
agree to that. Like, Sally Field, I will absolutely agree to that. Yeah, like, but yeah, at any rate, like this, I think that this is probably one of the best. Like I said, I would put it in the best if y'all let me. But
I will let you be in the best if you want it to be there, because like
No,
I think
because-
this said to me like, oh, the MCU
because-
managed to figure out Spider-Man. That's an
Okay,
incredibly
okay.
big thing to do.
but again, this is not entirely an MCU film. This is not a Marvel Studios film.
I'll grant you, yes, it is a Sony property, but still, though, like
Which
we're
is-
including it because it's part of the MCU.
I mean, I am adamant
Which-
that the only reason it's any good is because it's not entirely a Sony movie, because
Which-
Sony like didn't have control over it because they were shitting the bed for quite a while.
And because it's a Sony film is the reason you can't watch these films on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I get it on British Netflix. It's all good.
And that's
nice.
fair, but it's only a matter of. See, I just need to get a VPN and start using British Netflix. But at any rate, but yeah, that is fair. Yes, it is only. It's only on like the PlayStation Network or on the PlayStation movie, whatever the hell. Like, I'll grant you that, but it's only a matter of time. Like, I have faith that one day, one glorious day, Marvel.
That price tag is good. Okay, no Way Home. By the time it's done with its second release, which is going to be around the holidays, and it's going to be a extended cut. That thing will have grossed over $2 billion at the box office. There is no way Sony is selling Spider-Man. There is no way.
That's Mad Disney Plus. UK Disney Plus has Spider-Man.
All right, there you go.
So there you go. So yeah, it just depends. Maybe America just needs to get on board with this crap.
I don't know. I'm starting to get worried though, because we're starting to get like you guys. We have Paramount Plus as a streaming service now,
Yeah.
and I'm annoyed.
Yeah. I mean, hey man, you got to watch Star Trek somehow.
No, I really don't need to watch.
I used to have it all on Netflix. I don't want them to take my Star Trek away.
Too late.
That's the only reason I watch it Paramount Plus, so I can watch Picard and like the old versions of Star Trek. But anyway, so yeah, we only got 7 more movies left. Let's power through this, guys. We got Thor Ragnarok. So
I'd like to put in a vote for best, please.
Go.
Ooh, I got Harrison saying best.
It's one of my absolute favorites.
Good.
I'm gonna put it in great because I'll go mid, like the mid between you two on that one, because it was actually a really good one. Like I said, it's one of the few things that makes Hulk interesting to me. And then also Taika Waititi is just, dude, he is like insane. Like, he's balls to the walls crazy with the way he does stuff. And like that opening scene of him being in like Surtur, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Surtur. Yeah, Surtur's throne room, and then like him starting the fight, and then having what's the immigrant song?
Oh yeah, the immigrant song.
Like that whole scene is beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I mean, I'm also a fan of Carl Urban being like, "Behold my stuff." I
found him in Texas.
Now, let's see. Surtur, voiced by Clancy Brown.
Yeah, Mr. Krabs.
Yes.
Oh, SpongeBob, you don't get me that Thor.
And he's also in the DC animated. He is Lex Luthor.
Indeed, he is.
He was also already sort of in the MCU via Netflix in Punisher.
That's right. That was not MC. Yeah, that's a weird dynamic there, but yeah,
it was when it came out.
Right. So, also this film, there were some scenes that are just amazing, absolutely amazing. Like the set piece of the Valkyrie against Hela was absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And again, casting Kate. I mean, how would you get Kate Blanchett to play Hela?
Yeah, right. Like Oscar-winning freaking actor comes in there and just hams it up, has a hell of a. You can tell she was having fun with it. Like she wasn't even and not that she wasn't taking it seriously, but it's like she was just having like, all right, you want me to be a superhero villain? Fuck it, I will like do what like she just she just has fun with it, and I'm like, and I appreciate that.
Oh, and in this film and in Dark World, we have a DC actor in these films.
Who's
Zach Levi.
Oh yes, he plays one of the Warrior 3.
Doesn't he replace the dude from?
Yep, Fendril.
Yeah.
Yes, the Robin Hood looking motherfucker.
Yep.
Yeah, I completely forgot that he was in there. Oh my god, that's damn. He's come a long way since that.
Yeah.
Well,
we got Jeff Goldblum. We got Goldblum doing
Jeff
his
Goldblum
Goldblum
just being Jeff.
being Jeff Goldblum.
Which really, from what I heard, they really didn't give him much direction. They just said, "Go, just do
you,
just do you."
I mean, why else would you get Jeff Goldblum unless you wanted to be Jeff Goldblum? Like, you don't just get him in there and be like, all right, now do like the exact opposite of why you're here.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually, I would say this film has, and again, this is where, you know, Taika had some reins on him, and he allowed scenes to breathe. Because there was definitely humor in this, but in the scene that I really like is where Thor finds the jet, and then we got Hulk is crashing his way through, and then all of a sudden you see Nat, and Hulk just stops, and just as he's starting to transform back. You can feel pain and sadness and anger as he's hitting himself. No banner, no, and you see Thor seeing what his friend goes through, and the shock and like horror.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Oh my god, this is my friend," and you know, and you're allowed to go on that little small trip from Hulk to Bruce.
That's a good point, and more so like you don't actually think about that. Is that like up to that point, Hulk and Thor, they don't really pal around too much. Like no. It's usually like Hulk and Natasha, and then like Thor or not Hulk. Yeah, Hulk and Natasha, or Hulk and Iron Man. Like they usually chill out like that. You don't really see like Thor chilling out with with Banner very much. So seeing that, him having that realization of like, oh shit, I didn't realize what you go through, like that. It is kind of cool to have that for them to kind of come to an understanding about that.
And another scene that does the same is when Odin dies. You know, you're allowed to feel that. You're allowed to feel Loki and Thor's, shock, awe, sadness without throwing a joke in like the very next line, and then and then you see Hela come in just as Odin's gone, and she is the menacing, and when she catches the hammer, she's terrifying. She is terrifying at that point.
Yeah,
and it leads to my favorite line: "Are you Thor, god of hammers?"
Yeah,
just like the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Right, and so this is. I mean, there are some folks who did not like making Thor a joke as more or more joking. They like the serious Thor, and I can see where they think that. But for me, this film was very well done.
Absolutely, yes. Like as an adaptation of Planet Hulk, not that great, but whatever. It was a Thor movie. What are you gonna do?
Actually, that's one thing that I think I might come down with overall on the MCU. The MCU is not actually that good at adapting comic stories. Like I appreciate that they try and like take bits from different stories and make them, but they just end up ruining a lot of stories that people like.
I mean the fact that the fact that this is now the third Thor film, and all we get is a statue head of
Beta Ray Bill.
right, and I'm like, where is Beta Ray Bill? Where?
Yeah, that would have been really cool. At the very least, just to see like one of the gladiatorial fights have Beta Ray Bill in it. That would have been awesome. I would have lost my shit.
Right, and so would most folks.
But yeah, like I think it's at that point they weren't sure how many people or how many of the fans of Marvel movies knew who Beta Ray Bill is. Like, I don't like calling MCU fans normies, but I mean by and large, a lot of them have read comics.
Yeah. I think the MCU is partly there to try and get people interested in comics, so it's definitely more palatable and easier to get into.
Fair enough. So, but if you have like Beta Ray Bill show up, it's like, when did Thor become a demon?
Yeah, it would be nice to see. I like all that. I've been saying I want a Thunderstrike for ages.
Ooh, cool.
But that's just because I like leather jackets.
Yeah.
Well, All right, guys. So I'm gonna just before we even have a conversation, I'm gonna put it right there, and I will have no words.
Not even close. Not even close. It's mid.
Oh,
mid.
Okay. Is that Black Panther?
Mid.
Yeah, Black Panther, yes.
Mid.
I'd say good. Like
mid.
It does not deserve to be a mid. It's like there's a lot that's great about that movie, but it's one of those ones that like doesn't hit me the same way as it does others.
There is actually not a lot that is good in this film.
Oh man, y'all don't know shit.
I think
like this is a great movie.
I think it was awesome. Like just the scenes, the sets, everything about it was like his costume is just bitchin'.
Hey,
the casting of like every turn is fantastic in this movie. Like it's full of amazing talent.
The entire third act is terrible. The CGI is bad. Now the action sequences are bad. The wasting of the wasting of a potentially great villain just to kill him off in one film.
Fair enough, but I mean, you gotta admit, of all the villains of the MCU, this is like one of the few villains you can probably get behind. You're like,
okay, but again, you waste him by killing him off.
I don't know. I like how they do it, because the whole point is that even though he has to be killed off, like T'Challa has to learn something about it, and it's part about him becoming a leader and changing it. I think it's like, I have no trouble with that movie.
I disagree.
Like it works really well.
I did not like this film.
But yes, I'm gonna agree with Harrison. The fact that we had like the fact that it's like he doesn't necessarily disagree with his enemy, but he still understands he has to stop him. It really does add a extra layer to that whole like conflict that I really like.
Now, so that in terms of like things that are bad about it, that fight where he dies sucks.
Right.
Like the setting they put it in, the way
the
it
CGI
looks
is terrible.
Work.
The CGI is terrible.
It doesn't look good. The whole thing of like the suits like fading in and out is a bit weird, and I'm not really into it. Like, but yeah. Although, guys, pluggity plug. Russian Comic Book Geek did a Killmonger audio comic, and I got to play Claw, so that was loads of fun. Hanging out, just being a set African all day. Be like, oh yeah, these cuttlefish, they make lights. They go whoom, 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 whoom.
So
I used to be Gollum, you know.
So you know what pisses me off is I completely forgot about Claw in Avengers: Age of Ultron, but he was in this one too, and yeah, a big part of that is also Andy Serkis being Andy Serkis. He's like, what is this, like your Spotify? Like, what is this, your entourage? Yeah, actually, we got a SoundCloud and everything. And he starts talking about his rap career. I'm like, what?
Right.
He's so good. Like, what, you reckon that's vibranium? Nah, I'm just feeling it.
Now what bugs me is that same thing, is that they kill him off like before he really gets to get going or do any kind of thing. They kill him off in that movie.
I agree with that. I'm sad to see him die off. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's Black Panther's weird in terms of longevity now. Like the whole thing has just got a bit weird. With like, not only did we kill off a bunch of villains, but now we've got our main character dead.
Well, yeah.
And now, if you've seen the trailer for Wakanda Forever, they're playing it very much off as T'Challa is dead.
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh yes, they are. Absolutely are. I mean, they're making Namor they're making Namor the antagonist, as if Namor killed him.
So we'll see. We'll have to see how they do it, but I could see maybe something like that happening. Like, oh well, Atlantis, and it was a misunderstanding.
It's not Atlantis. It's
or
not.
what,
It's
whatever. I don't know much about the Submariner. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that is the one of the 3 original Marvel characters.
It was like that. I think it was like the Human Torch before it was Johnny Storm.
It was the Human Torch, Namor, and Cap. The original 3.
Well, and that's all well and good. The last time I saw Namor was in a Fantastic Four comic book when he was palling around with Johnny Storm.
Mm.
So
he's got a weird thing with Susan Storm as well. There's been a lot of stuff of like Namor trying to get in her pants.
Which is that's the comic book.
Can you blame him?
I mean, you could be a little bit less of a douche about it.
Yeah,
like, I'm the king of the sea. Come fuck me. Yeah, no.
That's kind of a flex. I'm just saying.
I mean, I was gonna say it didn't work for. I'm gonna say Prince Henry. Who was the asshole who got like outed as like a molester or rape? Am I thinking of the wrong?
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
It didn't work for Prince Andrew, so.
Mm.
Sorry, I had to go through a Rolodex there. I had to find the latest one.
British. All
right. All right, next
guys.
one.
Here we go.
Best.
Oh yeah, we're not even going to argue about that. Yeah, Infinity War and Endgame. We can probably put them into the best category right now.
But let's just wait.
We might as well.
Yeah, but Infinity War, absolutely one of the best.
Absolutely.
At no point did I ever feel like this movie was slowing down, or did I feel like it was getting boring. Like I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. It was glorious.
I mean, there were just and the just hats off to the Russos for basically now taking every franchise and let's juggle this and let's make this work. And it was amazing, and so many scenes in this film just worked on so many levels. I mean, the very first time you see the nano suit armor, where it's prior to that when they're talking in Strange's place, and Bruce is like, Thanos, he's big, and Tony's like, oh, this is it now, and then he starts stretching because he knows this is what he's been leading.
Yeah, he's
up
preparing for this entire time.
Right, and so he starts stretching. He's like, and he is now laser focused, and then he's like, all right, ding, ding, and then to watch the suit just come out, it's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Him pump tapping his chest and it just like coming out of it. Like that was cool. Also, I like his whole like opening thing of hey, maybe you didn't hear me. Earth is closed today. Go back to space. Get the hell out of here. Like I love that whole thing of him like basically laying down the law. Yeah,
Squidward.
You heard Squidward. Like I love that whole thing of him laying down the law right away. It's like no, this planet is ours. Get the hell out of here.
Right.
Like we've been through this once. We're not doing it again.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, I'll be jumping around for scenes here, but when Wanda has to kill when Wanda has to kill Vision, the music playing, it's moving in slow motion, and again, not even that, but when he goes to throw that punch and Cap stops it, and he's holding his and you see a look on his face like, oh, you're resisting me. And Cap is just straining. And then Thanos cheats and uses the time stone.
Yeah.
I love that he does that. It's
of course
that it's like, no, thank you.
It just makes absolute sense. Like you think like, oh my God, she did it. Like against all odds, she won. Nope. It's like, and then she has to watch him die twice.
Yes.
Oh,
It's brutal. And
So crazy.
and again, of course, the scene, bring me Thanos, and Thor is just on God mode at this point.
I mean,
He's
we skip over that
just
whole
wrecking shop.
that whole opening scene of Thor getting and the Asgardians getting wrecked, and then Thor having to go get Stormbreaker. Like, also, I'm a big old Game of Thrones fan, so Peter Dinklage playing one of the dwarves. That was just a clever little like. Huh?
That's a big dwarf, and
yeah. I mean,
and again, even that scene, even that scene when Thor's dying because he's held the Starforge open. Where's the handle? And Groot's like, I'll sacrifice. And just the music again, so well done in this.
Absolutely perfect. Like, everything about it was done incredibly well. I just I don't think there's a single thing I would change about that movie if I could. Like, we've talked about a lot of things that we would have. Oh, I would have done this better in that movie. I would have done this better in Doctor Strange. I would have done this, but yeah, no. In Infinity War, it is a perfect movie. It does not need to be changed. Like, leave it alone.
And especially the very last scene, because it has that Empire Strikes Back effect. The bad guy won, and he sits down, and he's struggling because he got wrecked. You doing the snap, but he sits down. And just a satisfied smile as the sun rises.
Yeah,
and perfect.
And we get to watch all the heroes just like have all of their like. I love the slow burn of that too. It's just like, did we lose? Like the question, did we lose? Like, what happened? And then just slowly you see like Winter Soldier gone, T'Challa gone, freaking like
Vision gone. When Peter goes,
that bugged the crap out of me. I'm sitting there like, dude, you just got here. You can't die now.
I know.
And I do love that scene of like, I don't want to go. It's like, I don't want you to go either. It's like, don't do it.
Well, and even then, when Strange is like, this is the end game now. He's setting it up. It's up to you guys now.
And then he disappears. Like, it was the only way, Tony. We're in the end game now. I'm like, oh, such a badass.
Yep.
I just, my God. I
Perfect
love that
film.
movie.
Perfect film.
No, it was absolutely the best. And above all these other ones, like, even if like, we could say, like, yeah, they're all in the same tier together, this one is like, it's like first tier. I'm just saying it's better than the first Avengers.
Yeah.
I can go there.
I'm not arguing that.
But yeah, so all right, since we have that pretty much well in hand, I think now it's kind of sad. We have to jump over to a slightly worse one.
Bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in a meh because
it's meh or bad.
I don't care about it.
Yeah,
it is
objectively like I
think it's a forgettable film.
Yeah, see, that's a sad thing because I would like to put it in meh just to be nice, but I'm like, yeah, no, it doesn't even belong next to these two movies. It's like
that's it. I rewatched it and I was like, because it was one of the few that I'd only seen once, and I was like, okay, let's try this again. I really wanted to like it, but
I just don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
yeah, like none of it quite works. None of the story adds up like that well. Even Walton Goggins can't save this, and I love it when he turns up in things.
Right.
Like so it's just it's meh.
Yeah, like I like Lawrence Fishburne, but again, like even him, like it's like okay, cool, you're just really here to be Lawrence Fishburne.
Right. Yeah, they don't do much with anybody.
No.
Like, and even things like you said about Hank Pym being an asshole. He's like he's an asshole to a fault in this. It's a problem in this movie.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's just not as good as honestly, it's just not as good as the first one, and it's just not a very good MCU film.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what I watch. Although I say that now, but watch, we're gonna get like 5 years down the line, we're gonna be in the middle of Phase 5. Suddenly, Ghost is gonna come back in some way, shape, or form, and then everyone's gonna
Thunderbolts.
And then watch, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, Ant-Man and the Wasp! Remember how good that movie was?"
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, no, but I watch. Mark my words. Thunderbolts is gonna come out like something that's gonna involve those characters again. And people are going to have weird nostalgia glasses for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I think I bet it'll be like for weird bits of it, like that very beginning where he's in the cardboard maze with his daughter, and it's like it's like a cute family movie for like a second.
That's and theory. Those are the only elements of this film that work.
Yeah, like the stuff with Scott Lang and his daughter is quite good, but the rest is just kind of like, you won't remember it.
Right.
Yeah, I guess maybe a little bit with like his friends, Michael Cena and the other two. Like,
But that was just but those guys are so those characters are so the one trick. It's just the same thing.
Yeah,
they're there to be funny. Fair enough.
Yeah, they don't even make them funny like in a good
they
way.
have-
They
they
play
have-
the same joke again.
have no-
and it's like,
They have no arc at all.
Yeah, which is also kind of bums me out that when we get to like Endgame and like Scott Lang saves the world, or he doesn't actually go and find his friend. Like that's how forgettable they are. Is that he goes and sees his daughter who's aged up, but he doesn't even think to like, where are my buddies?
Yeah,
I'll give him that. Like my mate was like, hey, you want to go see your daughter instead of me? I'm like, yes, Steve.
yes.
And, I'm all for that. I'm also saying though is that there should be. It's kind of my problem with Thor Ragnarok is that his three friends get murdered and then we just never talk about them again.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Warriors
Are they
3 don't
that
come up.
fucking forgettable that we just don't care about them?
Well, yeah.
Well, that I find that sad because I found those characters to be at least they were endearing in that I found them a little bit humorous here and there. But
the good thing we can take from it is that hopefully the MCU can make a new Ant-Man movie that'll be really, hopefully we'll get a Thor Ragnarok or something that'll breathe new life into the character.
We're gonna get Stature.
That's
his daughter. That's his daughter.
Oh,
okay.
Stature.
We're gonna get the Child Avengers, like basically because between
Young Avengers, yes.
like we're gonna get all the Young Avengers, like
every Disney Plus show, with exception of the Moon Knight, has introduced a member of that team.
Yep. Here's hoping that eventually we'll get Miles Morales because I want that. Like they teased that.
You're not going to, because again, he falls under the Spider Universe. That is a Sony property. You're not going to get at him.
Just wait. I'm like, we got a reference to him in Homecoming with the Prowler with what's his name, Childish Gambino playing the Prowler. So like it's only a matter of time until we get Miles Morales. And so it's when Tom Holland decides, you know what, I think I'm done with MCU.
He has signed on for 7 more films, so that's gonna take a while.
Well, in that case, I'm almost. Then if we don't get something really really insane like balls to walls and like nuts from Spider-Man, then I'm almost assuredly that one of those films is going to involve Miles Morales then, or a multiverse like Spider-Verse kind of.
It seems like if we're getting 7 more Spider-Man movies, then we'll probably get a lot more Spider-Man characters, including alternate versions of Spider-Man.
All we need is Emma Stone as Spider-Gwen.
I mean, I wouldn't mind Tobey Maguire coming back, and it doesn't even have to be like that Spider-Man, like
and the Black Cat, and the Black Cat.
I would like to see Last Stand Spider-Man. So like Tobey Maguire's like old grizzled like leather jacket wearing Spider-Man. Like I'd like to see that one.
Okay.
Like I think that'd be cool looking. But in fact, I have that freaking jacket in my closet right now. It's
shocking.
It is the most thing I own, and you have like it is badass, and I wear that cosplay every Comic-Con here in Albuquerque.
All right, I like it.
But yeah, so after that little tirade, let's go ahead and move on to what I'm going to say is not surprisingly the worst MCU film ever, Captain Goddamn Marvel.
Yeah, right. So I rewatched this today. It's not a good movie. I legit don't think it's as bad as Incredible Hulk or Thor: The Dark World. Like I'd probably choose it over either of those two. I think so. Yeah, like it's boring is the biggest issue I have with it. It's really tedious. Like it's very generic.
So you'd put it in like the meh category?
No, I wouldn't put it in the meh category. I'd definitely put it in bad. I'm wondering, essentially, whether other things should be in worst. But
okay,
there's lots of reasons not to like this movie.
I am gonna shock the shit out of all of you.
Oh my god!
Go for it.
This is one of my favorite Marvel films.
Nice.
I don't know how to
Okay.
respond to that.
You're a really big fan of Kevin Smith references.
No, I'm not. This is why. This has a very personal thing for me. This was the first film that I saw in theaters after being on 60 hours of 60 hours of suicide watch.
Oh wow.
Oh,
And so there's that moment toward the end where there's the montage of Carol getting knocked down and getting knocked down and getting knocked down and getting knocked down, but then getting back up and getting back up and getting back up. That spoke to me. So for me, it is a objectively, it's a meh film, but for me, for that, the moment it goes into the best. So figure that however you want to.
Okay.
so all right, for that one scene though,
No,
it redeems it
well,
for you because
yes.
it speaks to you personally. I can. Wow, I did
Nice.
not expect, of all the things that we were going to see on this podcast or on this stream particularly, I never thought I was going to see you show me a Captain Marvel tattoo.
Yeah, it spoke to me. So,
and that's interesting. I think now I'll be honest. I'll be completely like transparent here. I think the reason that I don't like Captain Marvel so much, like it's not even a bad movie to be completely honest. If I had to give it a thing, I'd put it in maybe in the mid to mech category.
You don't like Brie.
Yeah, I think we just need to shut her damn mouth once in a while.
Which I agree, as the most Hollywood actors should. So
Yeah,
I would say, so based on all of this, it might go into the meh category.
That's surprising because I honestly thought this is kind of an upset. Then I thought we were gonna have like a big old oh yeah, fuck Captain Marvel, move on.
No,
but yeah, that's surprising.
No, I'm quite fresh. I saw it today, and there's lots that I wanted to like about it, but like there are some things that are an issue. Like it's set in the 90s, but they don't really do much with it.
Now,
like
now the soundtrack is
like. Sorry.
Now the soundtrack is good. You got Garbage in there, which I love the band Garbage. But if you watch the film with the director's commentary on it, you can tell that these two they were so out of their depth. They were out of their league. So they were really, you could tell that they were novices when it comes to a really big budget film.
Yeah, like a lot of it's kind of like boring. Like I was watching it, I was going, God, you spend a lot of time in that like archives area for Shield, and I'm like, and it's like this. It looks like it's from the 50s. It's a really weird way to spend your movie, given that it's about someone like from space.
Yeah. They do spend a lot of time on Earth and like the terrestrial thing, but again, like they're trying to build up like, oh yeah, Nick Fury met her, and that's what started the Avengers Initiative and the whole. Like all
I just think like I wish there was like more exciting things happening or more funny things. Like there's that bit where Nick Fury first comes up to her and he goes like, "Hi, we're looking for someone who crashed through the Blockbuster." Witness says the person was dressed for laser tag. And I'm like, why didn't we ever get like a scene in Laser Tag? Like some like, kind of like real like 90s nostalgia kind of like stuff, and it fits in and it's a bit wackier. Something like that. Whereas instead we're just like, let's go to a basement in the desert.
Well, that's the fault of these two basically novice directors. They had done some some indie films, because I think the two of them combined had like 3 titles to their name total. So there's not a lot of experience, especially with a big budget, big visual effects type of film.
All right, I will grant you that. It's just that they just like were kind of in over their heads, like a little.
Very much so.
All right, and yeah, so I think I just need to watch the movie again, and like I need to soften a little bit to Brie Larson and just be like, all right.
No, I mean, but separate the art from the artist.
Fair enough. All right, yeah, if I could do that with House of Cards,
and just don't look at Brie's feet.
Yeah, no, I know that whole weird like barefoot scene where she's like, oh yeah, that's, I don't know why, that doesn't really bug me, but it's just kind of like a weird like, why'd you guys do that?
Right.
But anyway, so I think also I'm not a big fan of No Doubt. So when
Okay. That piece, that musical piece was so out of place.
yeah, it
So
did
out
not
of
feel
place.
right. So
Yeah,
like
it was,
that, it's little things, but it's like yeah, the movie just wasn't my favorite.
okay,
Like,
that's fine.
so yeah, all right, we're on our last two, Harrison. I'm trying my best. So we are on.
It's cool. Don't you worry, dude. I am good. I am on a long weekend, so I can sleep late tomorrow. Don't worry.
All right.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna be very upsetting here. No. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. There's
Cause
no mind
riots.
Best.
I
Those are the best.
felt some disturbance in the force. 1,000 voices crying out in anger.
That's definitely the best. I mean, this is the most emotionally satisfying film.
Yeah, it has all the payoffs. It feels like it finally has like what's weird is it has team ups that you don't really imagine that would work.
Right.
Like Thor and Rocket teaming up and hanging out. Like
Rhodey and Nebula.
Yeah, Rhodey and Nebula for whatever reason. Like what the hell? Like all right. So let me see.
They now, but now okay, but since we're touching on those, the team up we knew was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkeye and Nat, and those two fighting over who gets to be the one to sacrifice for everything.
Oh, so good.
And I was not expecting Scarlet to be the one.
Me too. I
was in tears. I was in tears at that scene.
I was angry that I couldn't get my ship. I was like, no, like she's supposed to make Bruce happy. Like they make each other happy. It's sweet.
I was just sitting there, my whole world, like, because I was sitting there, like, when I heard that during Endgame, when Black Widow movie's coming out, like, we are getting a Black Widow movie. I didn't realize it was a prequel at the time, so I'm like, okay, cool. So I mean, she's gonna survive this. She is gonna live, and then she dies. I'm like, what the, like, how are you gonna do that? Like, how you can't just tease me with a Black Widow standalone film.
And just those two worked so well together. I mean, and by this time, everyone every of the original six, they are so good at this. They are these roles. They can do these roles in their sleep. And when Scarlett goes, it's okay. Let me go. And I'm like, no. And wow, just poof.
Yeah,
and like
it was so good.
For me as well, like again, as I'm someone who is rooting for the Hulk a lot, like it meant that his story in the movie just got a lot different. Like, and yeah, where he has that thing of like, I tried to bring Nat back.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, I can feel like, the kind of like the sadness. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, and then Tony asks, did she have any family? Yeah. Us.
Oh, dude, just like so sad. It's like, yeah, no, that's true. It's like that's her family. And then see, now I know you're not a fan of What If, but there is an episode that very heavily goes into that, like where all the Avengers get killed off, and she's the last one.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah. So she kind of has to deal with the fact that she's like that. All of her friends and family have now been killed. So yeah, like it's really cool to see that, like as far as she's concerned, like Shield and the Avengers, like that's her family. Like those are her brothers and sisters.
And then at the start of the film, when she's alone in the complex, and we see little tidbits, like we see her shoe, we see the shoes that she danced in when she was in the Red Room, just hanging on a chair, and how she just can't let go. She has not processed this. She hasn't moved on from the last 5 years, and these are so many character arcs just coming to an end. The time travel thing is a little wonky, but we'll set that aside. But as far as emotional, this is a very emotionally satisfying film.
Yeah, I would agree.
It is.
And as far as the time travel thing, it's time travel in that yes, they are going back to the past or whatever, but it's more of like interdimensional travel because
it's still wonky though. It's still wonky.
It's them trying to set up for the multiverse saga. Like that was their big like seed. Like, oh yeah, check this out. Like, see all these little like branches. Well, the TVA, and then also later on we're gonna get Kang, and then like that was them planting that first little seed.
Yeah, well, that was not supposed to come out for the next few phases. This was supposed to be cosmic next.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? Like, I would have loved to see them go to space and deal with that kind of shit too, and deal with like the Eternals or like the Celestials and shit like that. But that's gonna have to wait a while.
Yeah, or a proper Galactus.
You see, my hope is because like from watching Thor: Love and Thunder, we see a Celestial in like the God Town, whatever the fuck it's called, and then we also see like obviously we have Celestials in the Eternals. I'm hoping that we'll get something going down the line, or like we're getting Fantastic Four in 2025, so I'm hoping that they'll do Galactus and like they'll do him right then.
I hope so. I hope they.
We'll see. We will see. Just gotta give it time. What I've noticed is that like even though like we got the phase 5, phase 6, whatever, take that with a grain of salt because remember how it was when they announced phase 2, phase 3, and all that shit.
Okay,
like
everything that has been announced was greenlit under Iger, so we'll see how, because we have yet to see anything that is from the Chapek now regime, and we're not going to see that till like late 2025. So we'll see how. So we'll see how the Iger the regime ends.
So yeah, I always like to err on the side of like optimism because I have to at this point. I've invested
well, see, time and effort. See, I think it would be better just based on what everything that we've seen so far. I set my bar low. So if something's decent, I'm surprised. If it's bad, I'm not surprised. I would rather be pleasantly surprised than burned.
That's a fair point. It's like better to be surprised than disappointed.
But yeah. So just back to the end game thing here. Yeah. And again, the third act is just balls to the walls. Was some of the most amazing things we have ever seen. You get let's kill him proper this time. Arms out. You get the Mjolnir, and you get Stormbreaker. You get Thor, still fat, but warrior Thor. Because his mom says something very important. Everyone fails at who they're supposed to be. The best you can do is to be the best to be the best at who you are. And such a great scene.
And also, I want to point out, like everyone pointed this out, like for like weeks after that movie came out, everyone was pointing out how Thor was clinically depressed and he was like borderline suicidal almost. Mm-hmm. So that scene where he like reaches his arm out and Mjolnir still comes to him.
Yep.
And he's so happy to still be worthy.
Yes.
I'm like, fuck yeah.
and then Thanos has Stormbreaker and he's starting to drive it into Thor's chest, and then all of a sudden you see Mjolnir just kind of lift up a little bit, and then all of a sudden there's Cap, and what does Thor say?
I knew it,
right? because in Ultron, Steve could have easily lifted the hammer.
That's what they say. That's what they say is that he was pretending not to. Like he felt how light it was. It was like, oh, I better not mess with Thor. I better not make Thor like jealous or something.
Right. Because out of respect, because that is true to the character of Steve Rogers.
Yeah, he would be a caring enough person to consider his friend's feelings.
Right. And then you see Steve, and it's just like he's swinging that thing around and then calls down the lightning, and I'm like, why not? Of course, please.
I understand. Like I don't believe he ever actually had like a Norse like or like
No.
Asgardian like guard.
No.
But I still think how cool would that have been to have like a Captain America like suit go all freaking like Thor style when he picked up the hammer.
Okay,
Like
and
I would
then
have loved it.
and then when you start to see, and then when you hear, "Hey, Steve, Cap, is that you? It's Sam
On your left.
on your left." And then he turns, and then you see the first portal open. That scene in and of itself, this building scene, you get T'Challa, who doesn't say a word but just gives a slight nod. It's like, I got you. And then Sam comes out. The portals start opening. People are rolling in, and you're seeing everyone show up. And then you get Giant Man comes out, brings everyone up, and Sylvester's theme, building and building and building and building and building, and then you finally hear it. Avengers assemble.
And it's like, yes!
The entire theater I was at erupted. Just blew the roof off the place.
I know Harrison's just sitting there like, ugh, my kids just won't be quiet during a movie.
crude people.
Oh, dude, I'm so
sorry.
Great.
I'm sorry. We were in the theater, not the cinema.
Being utterly rude. Ruining the movie for other people.
If we're all cheering, how is it being rude
right.
if we're all cheering?
All cheering.
Because some of us want to hear the fucking line. I saw all of those like TikTok videos and Snapchat things of people like going, "Oh my god, he said a thing." You don't know he said it. No one knows he said it because you all screamed.
No, that's not true. We were all the theater was very, very quiet when it got to that point. Avengers, bum, 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 and then he says assemble, and then there was like a 1 second beat, and it's like wow, and I think the only person who wasn't cheering was like my mom. It's because she didn't give a fuck. She's just like, okay, whatever. I'm like, yeah.
And then going back to and then you get these great individual the moments where you see where Thanos has to cheat a few times, where the Wanda has him dead to rights, and you took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. You will. And she's crushing him, just ripping off his armor. And so he's like, rain down. And Corvus Glaive is like, but we're gonna hit our own troops. Just do it. I'm dying over here.
Yeah. Like that, dude. Thanos, like his desperation when he's like sees he's gonna lose. It's like it's mind-boggling how much he's willing to sacrifice just to like win.
And then all the guns turn skyward and start shooting. Marvel. It's like something's coming through the atmosphere. Oh no! And she just wrecks Sanctuary too.
If I had one problem, is that scene that comes out right directly after that. It's like, I think she's gonna need some help. And all the girls show up as like she has.
Yeah,
like, no, she doesn't.
Yeah, that's a little on the nose. It's a little cringy.
Yeah. It's like rather than bother trying to think of like a moment where we could have like some kind of solidarity between these characters who've known each other for years, we'll get all of the characters that don't know each other but happen to own a vagina, right. And they're gonna chill out for like a minute.
Yeah, and it's just like
because in actuality, from the comics, Captain Marvel doesn't need any help at all.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like from showing the movies, the comics, everything that is about Captain Marvel. She does not need any help from anybody.
No,
and I'm like, it was just a weird, like, kind of tacked on scene. So
right, and the fact that Thanos has to cheat again when he pulls the Power Stone out and hits her with the raw Power Stone is the only time that he can
actually stop her. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that's an absolutely good point.
And then you see Doctor Strange. and Tony knows exactly what to do.
Yeah, and I love that. So we can. This is obviously the best part to end on, but him being like, "I'm inevitable," and then
And it
Iron
comes
Man being like,
full circle.
"Yeah, I
am
Iron Man," and he snaps. And again, another time, the entire freaking theater lost their minds. Like,
and
you,
then again, an earned death. Tony's
dude.
death is so impactful, and it is so well done. It is a good death. It is an earned death.
And by far the saddest part of the movie is his death, and then also Peter Parker coming up to him and seeing like his dying, like seeing the light leave his eyes is like the saddest part of that movie.
Actually, the saddest part for me was when Happy's talking to Morgan.
Cheeseburger.
Oh, fuck off, Marvel! Making me cry in your own film.
Yeah, no, that was a good part too. It's like, you hungry? Yeah, I want a cheeseburger. You know, your dad used to like cheeseburgers. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, Happy. Everyone likes cheeseburgers, bruh.
It's because of that one scene in Iron Man. He's like, he gets back from Iraq, Afghanistan, the Middle East. And he's like, I want a cheeseburger. I want an American cheeseburger right now.
Gee, and like, just looking at Harrison's face, I'm thinking, is this how it is? Just reversed to when I'm on the show, because it seems like Gilbert and I are the ones who are standing for this, and Harrison's the salty one.
Well, I just didn't think it was necessary to give a blow-by-blow recount of the entire movie.
Oh, come on now. That movie, the highest grossing film of all time. Come on now.
Yeah. It's more than like we've been on this movie for like 20 minutes and we were like, oh, dude.
I'm sorry, Harrison. Yeah, no, right.
I could keep going. I could keep going.
I know. I'm begging you to stop.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's great. And so we'll move on to our final one, and then we will get out of here so you can be on your way. So,
good.
All right, guys. Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Good.
I'm surprised. Yeah. Good seems fair to me. Yeah.
Or far. See, what bugs me is I'm like, if we're gonna put it that way, it belongs this way because like that Spider-Man is no way better than that.
No way. Interesting. So what makes you say that, Gilbs? What is that then?
Well, first of all, it has one of the best interpretations of Mysterio that I've ever seen. Like, whatever you want to feel about the drones and how like all the movie special effects BS, that whole hallway scene where he's like in like this dark, like dank shit, like you know, he's showing him like he did the scene where he's put in the snow globe, he's like a zombie Tony Stark. Like the fact that he's like truly fucking with him and he's not actually doing anything to him, that is the most Mysterio thing I've ever seen.
But that's good. But I will definitely take Michael Keaton's Keaton over Jake any day of the week.
That's a fair point. Jake Gyllenhaal was not my choice, but again, I'm like, I can let that go for the
he's the main antagonist of the film. You kind of can't let it go.
I quite enjoy like that version of Mysterio. I mean, we did I think it's here on the Fulcrum Entertainment channel. Actually, is it of an audio comic of Spider-Man 13 where Mysterio turns up, and like that's very of its time, so it's quite goofy. And like I kind of like the way that we sort of expanded it a bit, like to fit more into the MCU, and also made him a little bit more of an unconventional villain. Again, we talked a lot about the generic bad villains, and this one definitely takes it somewhere else and has a bit more flavor. Like technically, it's a whole bunch of people on Mysterio because he only works with his team.
Oh dear God! Here we go. Making a whole new row.
No. I'm not adding a new. I'm just deleting the worst because it turns out there is
nothing in worse.
Right.
Yeah, there is no worst MCU film apparently by us.
Well, in this phase.
Yeah. I'm sure next time we talk about this, it'll be a very different conversation.
My last point on Spider-Man is that I think I prefer the first one, Homecoming, to Far From Home, because it's more of a Spider-Man, like what I think Spider-Man's story is. Like it's about him defending people in New York. He's a like crime fighter. He's not like saving the world. Whereas this one obviously takes him to Europe, takes him across the world. It's not the same kind of villain that he's beating. So, you know, and it's I was hoping we'd get a bit more time of just him chilling and being a crime fighter before it was.
because Spider-Man is more of a street level hero, really.
Yes.
Friendly
Yeah.
neighborhood Spider-Man.
Right.
Exactly.
So yeah,
And
I can grant you that, I guess. Go ahead and finish.
well, but there's nothing wrong with it, if that makes sense. It's the thing that I prefer in that Spider-Man, but there's nothing wrong with the Far From Home Spider-Man. They do loads of good stuff with that story. That's tons of fun.
Yeah, there's some really
Luckily,
cool
we're not
stuff.
getting onto the rest.
I'm just noticing this as opposed to our Star Wars. It's a lot more even for Marvel than Star Wars. There was a lot of best, a lot of worst, and just kind of a curve in the middle there.
Kind of an empty middle ground, but yeah, like I agree. Like it's I kind of like this how we've actually
more
come to a
balanced.
nice. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't feel like it's out of place. Like I look at this and I could absolutely be like, okay, yeah, I could see Captain America being or Winter Soldier being over Civil War. I could see those being over like Avengers 2. Like it feels like it actually kind of works. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think we've actually come to a pretty good consensus here.
Yeah, I think this is very good. And I thought it's quite telling actually when I was looking at things to rewatch to prepare for this that there was only like 2 movies that I'd only seen once. Like everything else I'd already watched multiple times, which kind of gives you an idea of the overall quality.
So yeah, I'm gonna save this. We'll be sharing this on our official Twitter here in a moment.
Which I don't tweet, so I'm not gonna see it ever.
That's all well and good. I mean, I don't.
It's kind of
get on Twitter then. Jesus Christ.
Why?
Because I feel like you'll have fun arguing. I feel like you'll have fun telling people why they're wrong.
No. I don't need that. No.
It's like I get enough of that on YouTube.
But there are some.
But all right, guys. I think that's after 2.5 hours. We made basically our own MCU film right here.
Not bad, actually.
We honestly, if I'm almost kind of glad that Chantel and Ambassador Wing didn't show up because that would have been a much longer episode. We would have been sitting here we wouldn't even been halfway through this shit if we had 5 people here.
True story.
But all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us. If you guys are still watching, we appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Action, Fuller's Figures, Goog Sours, and
Daniel Nash.
Yeah, Daniel Nash. Anyone who I'm forgetting, if you guys were in here, Matches Malone, if you guys were in here and you didn't comment, then still, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out our other videos. Make sure to check out our podcast every week. We've been doing a buttload. We've been doing our Stranger Things. We've been doing our Boys. We've been doing
The Boys.
Obi-Wan. Yeah, dude, The Boys is so good.
I know.
Yeah, so I don't know what we're going to be doing next. I'm debating whether or not we want to do She-Hulk. I don't know.
RRR. Watch RRR.
Maybe, definitely maybe. But yeah, I don't know what we're going to be reviewing next. But yeah, stay tuned for next week. I'm sure we'll have something. And but until that time, check out Harrison's audiobooks. Check out which one are you doing? It was Red Harvest Part 6.
Yeah, Part 6 is the one that just came out. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, go check out Red Harvest Part 6 because we got the very talented Harrison Bowman voicing it, and but also go check out Joker Voice's videos because you may not always agree with him, or who knows, maybe you do, but he's got some interesting opinions, he's got some interesting views, and I mean, if nothing else, it's entertaining.
I am that.
So yeah, you got any plugs real quick before we head out?
No, I was just on. I just was on a podcast last night. Legion Talks with JT and R2 from after the weekend, and Rogue Disney, and I just got the invite to be a regular on their show now, so I'm quite happy with that. I just passed 250 subs just the other day, so that's good. Yeah, working. So I'll have something to drop on Wednesday and Saturday, are my normal video days, and if something creeps into my head, which Hollywood always gives me something to talk about. So
all right, man. So Yeah, but go, like I said, go check out Joker Voices videos. Check out our other or our other podcast episodes, our audiobooks, and very soon, I am determined, damn it, to get this out by the end of this month. By like the last Ronin audio comic number 3 will be coming out. It's just, my God, if this is not a lot of work. This thing's gonna be like almost a 40-minute video just because of all the audio comic and then the credits.
Oh, sweet.
Wow.
So yeah, it's gonna be a long one. Like I can't wait when I'm actually finished with this whole series, because then it's gonna be like almost a 3-hour movie when I put it all together.
Wow.
Nice.
So yeah, guys, make sure to check that out. Check out our other videos. Like, subscribe, comment below, hit that bell notification, and remember,